Sup everyone, and welcome to episode 47 of the Thought Patrol podcast. Now real quick, before we get into the episode, I'm going to explain what's going on. We recently had kind of a small mock debate over our name because another YouTuber had started up a podcast with the same exact name besides the space. So we kind of both got together, hanged out, talked, and recorded the conversation to both use as content for our podcast. It was mostly mock. It wasn't really anything intentionally bad. They didn't really plan on stealing our name or anything like that. So we really appreciate them for not being assholes, I guess, and just giving us the opportunity to keep our name and stick with it because we really like this name. We really like the branding that we've been building and just have been enjoying every second of this last year with all of you. So that was kind of just explaining what's going on, so you guys have a little bit of a preamble to this discussion that we're about to cut into. Again, there was no really ill intent at all throughout this entire episode. We were just all kind of messing around, and then now you guys can still see we still have our name. Really appreciate Glink and Miskit for giving us the opportunity to talk to them about this and maybe get us exposed. Really both cool guys. Definitely hit them up, check them out on YouTube. And yeah, so let's get right into the discussion.
Yeah, if it was our fourth episode, I'd be like, dude.
Yeah, fourth episode, you guys would be done. we would get lawyers.
This dude's shirt is off.
I don't know. Can we
There was a shirt, and then there was no shirt. It was...
What the hell, man?
Dude, Vex, you look like an anime right now. You literally look like you look like you're in Boku no Pico.
Boku no Pico.
That's what he looks like. Look at that still frame. How can you not love that face?
Yeah, can you not love that face?
So, welcome to this very special edition of the Thought Patrol. Did you change the title?
Yeah. Thought Patrol podcast debating over who gets the name.
This is episode 3, and we're joined today by the Thought Patrol podcast.
With no space.
However, no space.
Yes. Got fucked by meditation.
Ta-da!
So let's explain. Matt, how about you explain how this interaction came to be? Who sent you a message? What happened? How did it go down?
So it was a stormy Tuesday night, and I was just enjoying owning the Thought Patrol podcast with Glink. I was very happy and excited. And all of a sudden, I get a message from Bojangles here, and he's like, "Yo, we got a problem." And I'm like, "What's wrong?" He's like,
"Oh fuck, I muted myself." Okay, wait, let me restart. Restart.
Oh my God.
Restart. Not my day today. Restart. Okay.
Dude, no
Welcome everyone to this very special edition of the Thought Patrol podcast. We are joined today by our guests, 2 members of the Thought Patrol podcast with no space. And the way this interaction happened started from a series of unfortunate events, starting with us picking the name. They came first. I'll have you guys know they came first by a long fucking shot. But the purpose of this episode is to debate over who deserves the name and why. And look, for full disclosure, we feel pretty bad because they've had a thing going for a while. And but we still want to do this debate format. We wanted to bring them on, potentially showcase their own show if you guys are interested. But more importantly, see who deserves the name. Who deserves it? Why? What are the reasons? Who got here? What our experiences are? Maybe we'll talk about podcasting in general and just divulge from there. Matt, why don't you explain?
All right, so back to what I was saying. It was a very, very, very stormy night, and I was enjoying Thought Patrol podcast name. Bojangles here comes up to me. He's like, "Yo, we got a problem." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "We have the Thought Patrol podcast name, and you guys kind of stole it." They didn't even say stole it, but he's like,
gonna say,
"This is a problem."
Trying to defame my name?
I'm just trying to win this. I'm just trying to win. So
Kyle can defame himself on his own, trust me.
Jeez. So I'm like, all right, well, what's the problem? How do you have our name? When we looked everywhere. We looked everywhere for Thought Patrol podcast, and no one had it. But their name is Thought Patrol with no space podcast. So that's why we didn't see it anywhere. So they did have the name, just we were never able to see it. So now we're like, all right, let's go on our live stream and let's debate kind of on who gets the name, who deserves to be the Thought Patrol podcast, and who goes home the nameless fuck. So that's what we're here for today.
So, Bojangles, you're the one who initially reached out to Matt regarding the name, correct?
Yes, sir. I joined your guys' Discord, just kind of figuring to see what was going on, how this
Who's
came
running
to
what?
be. What?
Right. Nothing. Sorry, go on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and it was quite an interesting event when I went to go show my friend that, hey, we had a podcast, and I went to search the name, and boom, you guys popped up with about 10 times the subs already. We're only going for a week, and I'm like, shit, this isn't good. So I decided to join your podcast or your Discord, reach out to you guys, and basically say, hey, how's it going? We've been kind of... We've had this name for a while. We're actually approaching upon a year on the 21st. We're doing an anniversary event, and we were just wondering, hey, could you guys mind changing it? I know you guys are new to at least podcasting, maybe not YouTubing, but podcasting. And
I'm new to both, so.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. And we're just wondering, hey, you guys mind changing the name? Now, I think right off the bat, for this whole event, this whole discourse that we're having, since we technically did have the name first, I think we have some sort of legal precedence. So no one's suing anyone or anything like that. This is more of something for fun, but that is technically our name. We're not here
because you don't have the space in your name. Isn't that also technically not the same name as ours?
I mean, I guess you can go up to McDonald's and add a space between Mick and Donald, start your own store. They won't touch you. You're good to go.
Okay, let me ask you this. Did you trademark the name?
The name is not trademarked. That is
Well, then you have no legal precedent, my dude.
Listen,
That's actually not true. Whoever uses the term first and uses it in their business has superior legal right. So if somebody else goes to trademark it and the first organization steps forward, they're massively more likely to be able to hold the name.
All right, well, listen. I have a dual degree from Arizona State University in biochemistry and philosophy.
Damn,
so I just want to let you guys know, yeah, I'm pretty big. So, all right, so more importantly than that, I'm just saying, I personally agree with you guys on everything that you said, right? It makes perfect sense. You guys had the name. The only problem that you guys have that we have a standing on is that you have a space. That's it. You guys, if you have the name first, it's everything. But you guys have no space. You guys have no space in between your name. So
yes.
I don't know.
Let me make a point of conjecture here. Mr. I can't see your name. The guy with the red avatar. What's your name?
Tay-Sex, but you can just call me Shawn.
Yeah, Shawn,
Okay,
and then
Shawn.
Bojangles is Kyle. We could go by names. That's fine with us.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you guys
I
don't
kinda
know,
like calling you
Shawn
Bojangles.
is the devil one, and Bojangles is the weeb.
Yes, the weeb indeed. That works for me.
Okay, so first of all, I need to ask you, what anime is your profile pic from, Bojangles?
It is from Darling in the Franxx.
Is that one of your favorites, or what are your thoughts on
No. The picture changes quite often. I don't really have a favorite right now. But
So your picture changes most often, but
What
what about
would you? Wait, go on. What would you say your top favorite anime of all time is?
obviously Corey in the House.
Wait, so if you're a weeb, you already lost this argument.
You're right. People with anime profile pictures have no opinion on the internet. I do understand that, and I probably should have changed in preparation for this.
Okay. on a more serious note, though, there are multiple podcasts and shows, even internet shows, like channels that have the same name. Because, like on YouTube, you could name your channel anything you want, technically. It doesn't matter if it's not unique. That being the case, Mr. Devilman, Shawn, how would your argument hold up? Because it's like, well, you're saying, well, even if the business that came first that has a name, they're more entitled to it. Okay, fair enough. But is this really considered a business, though? Like, how do you categorize that? Because there could be 20 other Thought Patrol podcasts started tomorrow. Are they all going to bow to you guys?
If somebody were to make an issue of it, if it were to come forward, yeah. And if there was somebody that came before us, they would have greater right to it than we did. I don't believe that there's worth the effort of going to some point like that. As far as I know, we're all doing things on friendly grounds. But if somebody were to push things that far, whoever's been using it the longest, actively using it, because I think you have to, if you don't use the name in any kind of format within the establishment for 3 months, then it falls open. Like any kind of a trademark, a service mark, those types of things have to be used actively. If they're not active, then they fall open. I believe it's 3 months. You can double check. It's been a little while since I looked into it.
Yeah, 3 months.
Do you guys have a lawyer for your show?
Yes, his name is Phoenix Wright.
I have a friend of mine.
Fuck.
Phoenix Wright, huh?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, no, a friend of mine. Her husband's a lawyer.
Well, we know. I don't know if you know who Vexed is. He's a good friend of ours.
That dude with the shitty mic?
Yeah.
Shitty mic.
Hey, nobody has a shittier mic than me. All right, I got.
Yours is actually better than his. I'm telling you right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Shawn,
let me ask you guys this.
the
Let's dig into the deep, the meat of this.
The deep end, going down the rabbit hole.
The deep end, exactly, the rabbit hole. How the fuck did you guys come up with this name? This specific name?
It was actually.
Ooh, I've got this one.
Go ahead, Shawn, because it was his idea.
Yeah. This name is a variation. Kyle and a group of his friends used to game online under THOT Patrol. That was like their tasteless clan name or whatnot.
Sure.
And we were trying to come up with a name for the podcast, and nobody could think of anything. And I liked the Thought Patrol idea, but I didn't like the thought part of it. So I just transitioned it into an actual Thought Patrol, since it's a podcast and we discuss opinions and ideas on things.
But why the no
exciting
space, right? Like why no space?
To tell you the truth.
That's a good question, Kyle. Why is there no space?
That's
a good question.
I
like this question.
I don't know. When I envisioned the word, I saw it as one, and I don't know why. And I completely understand how this all fucking came to be because of that. And Google sucks, and we're practically invisible, having only something like 50 subs. So I could understand how this all came to be. And in all honesty, if it didn't happen with you guys, it would have happened with someone else down the line. So this is kind of almost like a wake-up call saying like, hey, dumbass, you should probably have a space between these two. I didn't even know it was a meme. I was looking into the name, and apparently it's a meme as well. But yeah, that's how it came to be. And then metadata is what destroyed created this whole situation. So
you were trying to show your friend your own podcast, typing it in, and then ours came up, incidentally.
Yep, it did indeed.
See, that's shitty. That sucks. I can empathize with that.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. What got you into podcasting, though, to begin with?
Well, for us and it's funny because we had a group of friends that were always like, oh, let's do something on YouTube. And it never came to be. Well, at least they were here in the beginning. The first couple episodes, we had a decent where hosts we'd have like 3 to 4 hosts every week. But everyone got busy, life happened, stuff like that. And so now it's mostly me, Shawn, and our other co-host. And we do it pretty much religiously every week. But we've always wanted to do something because I know everyone wants to leave their mark somewhere, and we wanted to leave a digital one on the internet. And cool. We eventually thought, I mean, me and Shawn always talk to each other, just kind of like as non-homo as possible in our free time, just talk to each other.
There was some homo in there. There's a little bit.
Well, it depends on who you ask. There's no records of that, though. And we would talk to each other in these fashions where we just discuss things that we enjoyed, being games, comics, movies, anime, and stuff like that. And we're like, if we're going to talk about it, might as well, what am I trying to say here? Might as well put it on the internet.
Opinion.
Yeah, and see. Yeah. I think
do you listen to other podcasts?
I do indeed. Oh, yeah. I actually before we
what are some of your main influences?
I know one that I listen to a lot is the It's Obvious Gaming podcast, which is a really cool community of people. I don't know, they're not really big on YouTube, but they have a decent thing on like Spotify and stuff like that.
You ever listen to the GGX podcast?
I cannot say that I have. I need to get better at it. I used to
really
be
up and coming.
I used to work overnight, and I'd have 8 hours to listen to podcasts, and it was fucking awesome. But it quickly fell away. But I listened to that. I've listened to Funhouse. They're both of their podcasts, the Filmhouse one and Dude Soup. I love those guys.
Funhouse is good.
And I used to listen to Kinda Funny, and then a little bit of 8-Bit Geek. and then it just doesn't always happen. So it depends.
So, what kind of topics do you guys cover?
Geek culture.
Yeah, it's ranged.
It's usually geek culture and the humanities for the most part. Sometimes we'll get into heavy topics with those types of things, like we did a show on like gender biases and sexuality in gaming.
What are your thoughts on that?
Ideology versus, thinking through facts when you're discussing, especially like gaming culture, geek culture, anime, film. It's mostly that kind of stuff, pop culture.
Wait, did you say anime?
Yeah.
Is that how it's supposed to be said?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's
I just
the
know you guys
technical
are
pronunciation.
You guys are known for messing up your name, so I'm just wondering if.
So, what is your stance on gender roles or whatever you were talking about in gaming?
Well, the big point that was being brought up by like Sarkeesian and so on was that women are these types of victims, that these types of roles are prevalent, that this is constantly happening. The camera zooming in on this body part. But in reality, they're not nearly to the degree that she's trying to paint it. She's painting it from an ideological degree, not from a factual basis. When she brings up any kind of point, and you can pull up anything, and you give me a day, I can go and find how that's not factually accurate. That only works in the exact manner that she's painting it. When you open it up to a broader picture and support it with broader facts, it's not that way. It's only that way because she's basing it off of emotion instead of fact. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't truths to what she says, but the way she paints it is very similar to the way that organized religion or politics likes to paint things, like any president, Trump, for example. Yeah.
Are you misogynists?
I am not.
No.
Because we don't like
Very
misogynists
much
on the show.
Yeah, about to say.
Last I checked, I was not. If
you disagree with Anita Sarkeesian, you're a misogynist and you deserve to burn in hell, which is fitting because you're
and don't forget, I'm also a racist.
Yeah,
if
Shawn,
I disagree with
if you haven't cut off the tip of your penis to show that you love feminists, then you need to get the fuck
So let me
out of
ask you guys a more serious question.
Go ahead.
What does the diversity of your podcast look like?
It depends. Well, we've had a fuckload of hosts amongst our friends group, but
they're all white males, right?
Yeah, all white.
No, yeah, but 2 to 3 Latinos, 3 white dudes, 1 female.
Okay, so
sometimes.
you're more diverse.
We had another
than
female.
us, right? Actually, no. We're both.
We're very diverse. We've had
Yeah,
Vex
we're
on.
very-
He's an alien. He's not even human. That's the
Armenian,
ultimate diversity.
alien.
Oh shit, we don't have any aliens.
Damn, we've lost.
Who was the first
Yeah.
guy we had on? Oh, we just had Vex.
We had Brian,
Brian.
Next.
He's
Dex is
Hispanic.
also alien /
He sounded like a
amphibian.
robot.
So I think in the diversity department, we're beating you guys.
Shit.
Yeah,
So
we don't have any.
That's a point for us, since you guys are all white / Latino, but that's white.
Hey, we have a girl. Does that give us extra
What I
points?
want it to be.
We've had 2 girls actually. Do we get double
Ooh,
the
2
points?
girls.
Two,
That-
maybe.
Now you're talking.
It depends if they have colored hair or not.
Neither of them have colored hair.
Okay.
Okay.
No, we lose because they're not SJWs. We lose.
Okay. So you guys have been how long? You've been in this for a year. You have all these episodes. What was the most? Your favorite episode? What topic was your favorite episode?
I'll let you go first, Shawn. What do you think?
It was I think it was a tie-up for me between the gender bias one and the one where I got to tear apart Star Wars. Because I fucking hate that movie. So hard.
I feel like we're getting off topic here. The whole
Maybe
point
we
of
are.
this is to be like, yo, who gets the fucking name? Now,
Okay, so we just have the name.
Let's figure out how are we going to figure it out. Does chat decide? Do we decide? Because I feel like we're just going to constantly be backing up and going, no, I don't think you guys should get the name.
We deserve the name because
We need to have like who decides. I feel like chat is the one that can decide. Maybe.
Well, let's explain how we got to the name first. How about that? Then we can get there. Okay.
Yeah. So let's.
You guys got the
let's-
name because your friends, like RuneScape clan, was called THOT Patrol or something, right?
Yeah, that was originally where the name started out, and then I chose it for the podcast, only removing the thought part of it.
Yeah. Okay. Matt, we came up with the name because we were throwing a bunch of darts at the board, couldn't come up with anything else. Well, we had a few other names. The Best Podcast, Great Podcast, The Scuffed Podcast.
Oh, pretty
I like
good.
the Scuffed podcast.
All of them were
Scuffed podcast
taken.
was good. It's taken.
right? All of them were taken, right, Matt?
Yeah.
The
What if
the Mad
you guys can put
the
all
Mad and
three of
Greg
them
Go.
together? The Great Scuffed Podcast.
too long.
What?
Then we also
We thought of the
Thought
People
Patrol,
podcast.
but it without space, but it was taken.
Yeah. So, and then we thought similar to you, Devilman, is we thought okay, Thought Patrol is a common meme phrase everyone's saying, so it's like instantly recognizable. It's ubiquitous. It's kind of a genius name for a podcast because, and then yeah, we're doing a play on words because it's like thought, but we're actually engaging in thought while also being kind of memey. So in that sense, it's genius. And my hat's off to you, sir. I applaud you for coming up with it. But I mean, I guess great minds think alike.
Exactly. So we're all agreeing. The one good thing we could come from this whole debate is that the name is great.
So we're all geniuses.
Exactly.
We're all very smart.
IQ
Okay, this is
very high.
This is good.
Everyone
This is
here,
good.
anyone here watch Rick and Morty?
Oh yeah,
Oh, there you go.
countless times.
There you
So
go.
here's the problem. Here's the immediate problem, guys. All of our branding, all of our overlays, thumbnails, even our logo, our YouTube name, it's all Thought Patrol Podcast. We would have to strip all that out, okay?
Oh, so much work.
And
You guys
we
are gonna kill
need
us.
a fucking replacement name.
Thought Patrol 2.
So
That's all
you guys
got.
need to come up with a better name to remedy this issue.
Yeah, it's you guys.
So it's on you.
for us.
So
How about
go for it.
Glink and is it Mizkif? Mizkif?
Vexed for short.
Okay. Glink and Vexed watch porn.
What the fuck?
You know how much attention you'd get with that? And all the,
Yeah,
all the
we would get blocked from everything because we have porn in the fucking.
Yeah.
that's only if you actually put. Come on now.
I don't think so.
I
No,
thought
you
we
have
were
to
all
do it later.
intellectuals
Fuck.
here. You have to.
We are.
doesn't want to do that
Do
anymore.
you not watch? Who is it, Glink? What's his name?
Someone
do
said
that.
Shark Patrol, La Critera Patrol, SJW Shelter. How about Thinkcast?
Thinkcast? That sounds pretty
No,
good.
That sounds pretty gay. We'll think of
Um,
something. We're creative people, but it's just.
It's just that we deserve the Thought Patrol, so we're just sticking with that.
I see.
So Matt, how about you hit? Okay, let's do the proper debate format. I state my case, rebuttal from Bojangles. Matt, you state your rebuttal to him. Devilman, you get the last word. Okay. All right. Let me start off.
I just looked up synonyms to thought, and they all suck. So that doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Now you know the predicament I'm in. Okay.
Yeah, we did this already.
Here we go. Here's my thing. Ladies and gentlemen, even though Thought Patrol with No Space podcast was first, even though they have like 50 episodes, the fact of the matter is, guys, we're Thought with a Space Patrol. And we've been doing this for 2 episodes, now 3. And the truth is, we put in a lot of effort. We got the overlay, we got the guests, and we deserve it because think about it. Look at us.
I know.
Look at us. I mean,
he's right.
and we think a lot. We talk about thoughtful things. We thought-provoking with our.
We patrol the
commentary.
internet and make videos.
We're patrolling all the bullshit, bringing it to this episode to talk about it, to divulge it, to just hammer it out. And wait, let me get some music actually here,
Dude,
if you guys don't mind.
the music from Goku going Super Saiyan 3. That's all you got.
No, it's too intense. It's too intense.
You can put on the Who
I'm
Wants to
doing-
Be a Millionaire when they're thinking.
I got a better one. I got a
Oh,
better one.
that's good.
What about that song from Rocky?
That,
Okay,
oh,
hold on. I got one. Okay. Yeah. We put our blood, sweat, and tears into every episode
shit! I can't hear the
of this
music.
show. We put our lives on the line, exposing ourselves to the public, to the internet, to the bowels of society, showing what we are, what we're made of, what we think about on a
Listen.
daily basis, what we talk about. Matt shaved his head. He lives in a fucking garage. He put a World of Warcraft Mist of Pandaria sign. Why? Not because he loves World of Warcraft, but because he loves this show. He loves you,
Yo,
the
wait, I like the
viewers.
name, the Easy Podcast, but go on.
The Thought Patrol podcast has stuck with us all this time. It's been synonymous with our brand, with our names, with our faces, with who we are as individuals, as people. It's been an inspiration to our viewers, to our fans around the world, and we deserve it. Even though they were there first, they didn't have the space. They didn't think about it like we did, which is ironic because it's Thought Patrol. So, ladies and gentlemen, today I leave you with this message, one of hope, one of inspiration, one of gratitude. You mean the world to us. We think about you all the time. We patrol the internet looking for bullshit, looking for lies, looking for controversies. And this whole time, we've stuck with it. You've stuck with us. So all I'm asking is for us to stick together, for us to power through, for us to win a legal case against the Thought Patrol No Space podcast, to shut them down in the court of law. We may not be lawyers, but we will fight to the bitter end for this name and what it represents to us, to this community, to our fans, to our subscribers. Miskiff is living in a garage. It's 98 degrees. He's sweating bullets. You could see the grease in his hair dripping onto his microphone, but still, he's stuck with it. He powered through. I'm in my dirty room, sitting here every Sunday, Saturday, interviewing whoever it takes for this podcast, getting them on, preparing questions, researching them, figuring out what we're going to discuss, what we're going to talk about. And this whole time, you've stuck with it. You've looked at us. You've looked at us think through the questions, think through the conversations, think through our hardships, our difficulties, our love, our loss. And all of this is in the name of Thought Patrol. So I ask you, when deciding who should keep the name, what name we should have, remember us. Remember this episode. Remember this podcast and what it's meant to you. Because that's all we are. We're just memories. We're just memories at the end of the day. We're thoughts. We're just
No one
thoughts.
else gonna clap for that?
I feel like there should have been
Okay.
gospel music.
Gospel
Bojangles?
music.
Bojangles, your turn. Go.
Your mom gay. Next.
Matt?
Mom! Oh, she was outside my door. She didn't answer. So I don't know that question. I'm not going to answer to it. I was going to rebuttal to it.
Should have said no you.
Matt, state your case. Okay, Bojangles, state your case. Go. If you want theme music playing, let me know. I'll pick it out and play it.
No, I don't need theme music, man. We Gucci.
Okay.
We Gucci. I can't pull anything super I can't even think of the words I'm trying to say. I've been blown away.
Theatrical?
I've been blown away. That's all I could say.
Look, I'll state your case for you, Link. Look, fuck you, dude. You, Link, they have the name, and not only do they have the name, but they've been here for over a year.
Dude, my uncle works at YouTube, and I'm gonna tell
And
him.
his uncle works at YouTube.
Yeah, dude.
Like, I feel like they do deserve. They have some rights to this name. It's just the only problem is the space,
Yeah.
and it makes me sick to my stomach that this is happening.
You know what
These
we
guys
should
have
do?
worked for a year,
We
and
should
now they're getting threatened by us.
we should
Makes me
take
sad.
we should take our fight to YouTube and blame them for the metadata bullshit that has caused this problem, and combine our two communities plus 50 and go take them down and bring down the infrastructure and start our own YouTube and call it GlinkTube. How about that?
Excuse me, did you just confess to inciting violence on the internet? Is that a threat to YouTube?
You're
Shut them
so
down.
lucky
YouTube,
we're not-
shut them
we're
down.
so lucky
Shut
we're
down
not
their podcast. We're keeping the name, boys. We're keeping the name. Shut them down, YouTube. This
Why the
guy
fuck-
just
Yeah.
threatened your headquarters.
Misogynist.
Nah, dude.
And they're racists.
And oh yeah, that too.
You guys are done.
Yeah, don't forget.
And the threatening.
Misogynist. We're misogynists.
Misogynist.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think you guys won. I'm just gonna say congratulations. Because genuinely,
I feel like I was very helpful there.
first of all, Clink plagiarized Trainwrecks a lot in that speech. I'm gonna say it right now.
No, he didn't. He plagiarized Hans Zimmer.
But yeah, I feel that you guys, honestly, as much as I do like the name a lot, but I do feel that you guys were here and it's your name. You've been here.
Okay, wait. Let me propose something seriously. This is a serious proposal. I mean this genuinely. So take this seriously and give me your proper response. What if we worked out a deal with you? What if we kept the name, but we compensated you in some way? Maybe financially, maybe we paid you for the name. And then you guys change your name or keep your name, whatever you want.
Well, I think the main issue here is one of the reasons that I contact you guys in the first place is you guys are both much larger YouTubers right off the bat. And if we were to keep the name as it is now, on top of the fact that there's no fucking space, so no one's ever going to find it, there'll be another channel that will pop up.
Motherfucker can't use a space bar.
Well, the other channel will pop up instead of our channel. You kind of see, so it'll kind of just dwarf whatever possible attention might come towards us. And with you guys being established already. So sure. I think the best way to go is either one person eventually walking away with the name. I would really like to keep it. And on top of the fact, you guys have started to create the brand as well. You have the overlays, the icons, the whatever things you might be using on Twitch or however you might do this. But the same thing goes with us. We've also been slowly.
What if we give you our overlays, but then you change the name? Okay. So okay, fine. You know what? Fair, but
you know, I think we should let's get Vexed in here. Vex will settle
Vexed.
for us.
Okay, call Vexed. Bring him in.
All right. We're gonna have to fix this someday. Here, I'll bring him in, boys.
It's gonna be interesting. So overlay's gonna get fucked up.
Everything's about to get fucked up, but it is what it is at the end of the day.
I just feel like I want to hug right now.
I want to hug too, but from my loyal, I know that.
Oh, I'm not friends with Vex on Discord yet.
Add him then, dude.
Here, Vex, add me as a friend.
Easy Patrol Podcast. That doesn't even make sense. Wait, Easy Police Podcast. What the fuck is that? What about the Easy Podcast?
Police?
I like the Easy Podcast, honestly.
Is that a thing? Is that a I'm down with that.
No, definitely not. It's
the Easy Pod? No, definitely not. 2 months later, yeah, we had the Easy Podcast for like 5 years.
But with a space in between E and Z.
Well, actually, we spelled it like easy, like the word easy.
Yeah, Easy Podcast.
There is an Easy Podcast.
I'm sure there is.
No, there's not.
There definitely is.
Kill me.
I'm hoping Kyle's the only one that doesn't know how to use the
GG podcast. GG Easy.
Just call it GGX Gang Podcast.
Yeah, let's just take the GGX Try Hard 7 podcast.
Wait, what if we do a thing of both of our names? GMZ. Like TMZ.
Like GMZ, isn't that like a
Glink Matt or Glink Ms. Kiff, but there's like a Z in there. So like it kind of like works. Yeah, that could work, right?
Hold on, let's add.
Victor wants in too. Victor wants in too. Okay, yeah, we're opening up to guests, but I guess for now, we know until we find a better system because we don't pre-screen people, so we don't want you coming in and screaming the N-word. Okay, add Victor.
Squad.
All right, Victor, add me as a friend. We're gonna debate the shit out of this.
Victor doesn't want it. Never mind. I thought. My bad, Victor. I thought you were my lawyer. What am I paying you for?
He doesn't want to get in here. All right, we should have lawyers. So let's make Vex our lawyer.
Vex is our lawyer.
And Red Team could be your lawyer.
Okay, that sounds good. Let's do that. Bring him up. Okay, Red Team and Vex, contact Matt Miskiff on Discord. Let's get you guys in here. We need lawyers.
Wait, why? It says...
Because we all know Vex he went to Harvard.
Link, you should be able to add them.
Then I have to exit this. Hold on.
Yeah, just take a sec.
Okay,
I've seen pictures of Harvard.
Taking off the overlay.
I think I stepped foot inside of a college at one point. It's almost like osmosis learning. It just kind of flows into you and you understand what's going on.
Alright, so Vexed and then add Red Team.
Okay, there we go.
What are you guys doing?
Oh, nice. Vex the robot.
Vex the robot. Hey, what up?
Yo, so I've been working on my letter, and how's it look? There's fucking steel.
Great, man. I'd love to.
Yep.
Can someone translate this? I can't.
It can.
We need to get,
Let the host
we need to get Mark
I love how-
Zuckerberg in here. I think he knows this language.
Matt, don't you love how Vex joins the call? The first thing he talks about is, "Hey, what do you guys think about this thing I made?"
I know.
Instead of actually talking about anything.
Wait. Okay, so if I'm gonna be their lawyer, your name is Shawn and Kyle, right?
Vex,
Yes,
why
sir.
is your mic in your
Yes, sir.
fucking windowsill, like 20 feet away from you, facing the other direction?
Here's the fucking letter.
Vex, we don't care about your
Dude,
fucking letter. We
no one
call you
cares.
for.
I'm gonna send it to Twitch.
Oh, now we care.
5 hours.
Oh, okay, I care now.
Damn.
Yeah.
Vex,
thank
fix
you.
your fucking mic. Why do you have your blue?
Blue embroidery. You see the effort that went into that embroidery?
Okay, hang up on
Beautiful.
Yeah. So far, red team's the better lawyer.
Vex. Okay, red team. Why don't you represent their case?
Okay, first off, the reason I say they should have it is because not only have they been doing it for over a year, I googled them up. Dude, they have
I googled them
such-
up.
they have such a big process. They're on Audioboom, Stitcher, Spotify. I didn't think that was a thing. Player.fm.
You didn't think
This is all you guys,
Spotify
right?
is a thing? What are you talking
No,
about?
I knew Spotify was a thing. I didn't know you could upload podcasts on there.
Yeah. that is kinda crazy.
Yo, Kyle, Shawn, am I right? Are you guys on all these things?
Yes.
You sound like a
Yeah.
fan of them, dude.
No, I'm not a fan.
Are you a
It's just
closet
that,
fan?
no offense. I think Thought Patrol is fucking horrible. It's a
How
horrible
about
name.
Pot Patrol?
Pot Patrol?
Whatever.
Pod Patrol.
Oh,
The other
Pod
reason
Patrol.
you should let them have it is because you're unwittingly going to allow them to grow bigger. Because you guys are both bigger YouTubers, when people look up Thought Patrol, they're going to eventually find them and start listening to them.
That's
and
not
they're
what
gonna
they're
get fans
saying.
too.
No, they're saying the opposite. They're saying, which kind of makes sense, that it's going to be so. All the search results would go to us because we would be bigger, and therefore they would lose any and all traffic of new listeners because everyone
Yeah.
searching for their name would just find us.
And you have the space.
Yeah.
That's also true too, but they just put like I feel bad for them because you guys are bigger YouTubers. What's it really matter to you? If I were you guys, I would just honestly pay them. Maybe like
Well, they don't want to settle it that way, and that's fine too, because I'm not super attached to the name, to be totally frank with you.
Well, it's just good that I found you
there
guys.
you go. The fucking argument is over.
I
You're
just,
not
I
gonna
just,
get-
well, I know we were kind of doing this as like a mock stream. We're not seriously actually debating. I mean, I thought that'd be obvious. Like we're kind of goofing around, and it's kind of a way to introduce the reason for changing the name to our as like an archive. You know, it's like, well, why did you guys change the name? We'll just watch this episode. This explains it. You know.
I'm trying to take you really seriously right now, but I can't look at Vex's face and take anything seriously.
Yeah, Vex is just the slideshow.
It's just a still figure. It's just.
Yeah.
Vex, can you answer me? I know you have like you're incapable of processing like more than two thoughts in your head at any moment. But why is the Blue Yeti microphone
Yeah, I just don't.
on your like windowsill facing another way, and why are you using your shitty headset mic? All right, Vex, get back to us via Morse code in a few months, okay? Because that's about how long it takes for your messages
Here,
to
I'll
go through.
plug this in. I'll plug this in.
I like the Bully podcast. I think that's fitting.
The Bully Podcast.
I saw that in the chat.
What about the Game of Thrones podcast?
All right, you fuck yourself.
I've
now.
never
Calm
even
down
heard
now
of
before
Game
we
of
get a
Thrones.
problem
That
here.
sounds like a good idea.
What is that?
Yeah.
I will say this though, as someone who's been doing a podcast for also over a year, the hardest part about doing it is finding a good name. Like I'll give you a great example. In the show, there's this group called the Brotherhood Without Banners, and we were gonna make our podcast the Brotherhood Without Manners. And then I found out that there's like a very small channel, like 200 subs. Brian has more subs than these fucking guys, and they had the name taken. And I didn't want to take their name because that would make us look like bullies. Essentially, Greg and Miskiff, you guys are.
So you avoided the Thought Patrol situation.
I would avoid like taking
Wait,
some.
were they inactive though? Were they active or inactive though? That's important.
They were kind of active. It's
Dude, you're stupid. You should have just done it then.
Right. You got.
no, because
You
then
like-
I would have been called a bully and plagiarist, all that
Can
other
you guys hear
shit.
me through my
Yes.
No, and you got
Unfortunately.
the 3-month thing. If the shit doesn't used for 3 months, it's open season.
I thought it was like
Yeah,
if like,
but-
it's on the floor for 5 seconds kind of thing.
Are they
You guys
complaining about
didn't
this?
post
I
for
think
a
that's germs and food, man.
That's also true.
week.
Are they complaining that you stole their fucking name?
Yeah, thank you, Vex.
Yes. That's our lawyer.
Sue 'em, dude. It's their name now.
He's in our corner, dude. That's our lawyer.
He's our
That's our
lawyer.
guy.
It's your
That's our
fucking
guy.
name now.
Next, tell them how much lawyer experience you have in getting out of the North Korean courts and fighting for your life.
Dude, I have a lot of lawyer experience. I was fucking arrested And then
That's all it takes.
I went to court, and then my lawyer told me not to fight it because if I lose, I get a criminal record. So
Vex, tell
I
them why
didn't
you were
fight it.
arrested in the first place.
I was
Public
arrested
indecency.
for pissing on the street.
Straight
Yeah,
up?
well,
Is
there
that
you go.
serious?
Yeah, he's serious about that. Yes.
Are you?
And then
They arrest
Yeah,
you for
and
that?
then
I thought they were just like.
How dare you, sir?
You get a slap
they
on the
arrested
dick.
me because I wouldn't give them my name because I told them.
Wait, where were you?
I was on the fucking street. And I
Where? Where? Which fucking
Yeah.
city?
So how did you pay for this ticket? Did you have to reduce your internet to save up money?
It was 150 euros.
Yeah. Holy shit, man! You cutting it out.
Vex, you're the most
Yeah.
scuffed person I've ever met in my life.
Transmitting.
Vex is like an art piece right now. Look at him. He's literally an art piece. Everyone do the Vex.
And then it's gone. It's gone.
What do you mean?
Vex, are you even a real person? Or are you just like a digitally?
Can somebody buy
generated-
me a new webcam, please?
I don't think it's the
You don't need to be on
webcam.
camera, asshole. Just oh my god, whatever.
I think it's your shitty internet. Your Dublin internet.
All right, well, I think we got far enough. I think they won. I think they get the name.
Okay, but what?
Yeah,
Are we,
just
let's
let
figure
them
out let's figure out a name.
I said I like something with easy, but apparently
I like
GG
Easy too.
Easy is taken.
Yeah.
What about the
and
Easy Boys?
Easy? Ooh, I'm gonna Google it. Sounds
The easy
kind of
Yeah,
gay,
GG
but
Easy is like a,
Spelled with
That is
B-O-I-S.
yeah. How you want to
No.
spell boys?
I don't know. Forget about that one.
Wait. Because Ms. Kiff and Greg didn't really do a good job at this. Kyle, Shawn, what is your podcast about? Just anime or geek culture?
Anime.
Well,
It's all about
culture.
anime.
yeah, we talk about games. It's. I think it'd be heavily.
But don't you think But hold on, don't you think your podcast name should reflect what you're talking about? I mean, Thought
Well-
Patrol. What does that really mean?
Well,
It means you're
we
patrolling
podcast.
thought.
again we've had deeper topics, and we do take the time every once in a while. It's not every week. And we research and go into deeper topics, like again, sexuality and video
Well, I
games.
do.
Listen, don't listen.
Hey, I know how to use a space bar.
Rename it to Thought
Ooh.
Patrol.
I will
Yo,
say
we
this
might
though.
have. You guys should separate it. You guys should have a feud and separate it into thought. One of you makes thought podcast. One of you makes the patrol podcast, and you guys are for. Anyways, go on.
Miss Kiff
Thought
and
Patrol.
Geek here, they mainly talk about like Twitch related content. So you guys, maybe your name should be like Twitch related.
That's why
Not
easy would be
hard
really good.
podcast.
The Twitchy podcast.
Just do Twitch highlights podcast, and then you get every view ever.
Twitch highlights compilation. You won't believe what happened next podcast.
Exactly. Ninja and Shroud. There you go.
Oh.
Yeah, you'd
Ooh,
never.
that's a good one.
Someone in the chat said normies, no normies allowed, which I don't know. I
The
like that
Yeezy
kinda.
Boys. And we all wear Yeezys.
I feel like it should be something related to like streaming and like Twitch for Ars Link because that's what we are going to be talking about mostly, streaming and gaming. So I do like the Easy podcast is
Stream watch?
The
Last
piss
time they made-
stream.
Last time they made a podcast was 5 months ago. Or no,
Okay, fuck
sorry.
them. Fuck them. We're taking it.
months ago.
Easy, right?
But if
Easy.
you take it, you're gonna be back.
I don't
here
care,
with them.
Matt.
Yeah.
Easy, right? No, what I'm gonna say. Fuck you to them. Easy, right?
Yeah, I would take
I'll,
Easy.
It's
I'll
easy. It's
DM
just
them a
easy. That's the,
picture.
wait. Shut up, Vexed. It's just easy. That's the one you're referring to, Matt.
No,
That's-
no. They have the GG Easy podcast.
Oh, that's fucking stupid. We're not doing GG easy.
Wait,
It's
Fuck
too-
DM them a picture of my pic to show where
How
Thank you,
active?
Vex.
How
Thank
active
you.
is the Easy podcast? How active is the Easy podcast?
I only see him on like Podomatic. I don't even know what the fuck that is. But let's see.
Automatic.
Let's see. Let's see.
Yo, Shawn and Kyle, can you guys add me afterwards? I need to pick your brains about how you're putting your episodes on all these fucking platforms. I really want to start doing that.
Oh yeah, dude, I'll help you. I got you.
Gracias.
I only see Easy podcast. Easy Outdoors.
That was Red Team, right? Yeah, that's the only other
Yes,
one.
that was Red Team.
I got
What
you.
if we
dude.
intentionally misspell thought?
Ah.
That way, if someone mixes it up,
Why would you want to do that?
Let's just think of a different name.
There's an Easy podcast that has 13 episodes in Los Angeles, and this website sucks ass. 1 second. Oh, fuck.
When did they last make something though?
The latest episode was 2012.
oh, we're
Okay,
going.
so they're
Easy.
easy. We can take that.
Easy.
Yeah,
name.
latest episode was 6 years ago. That was on
Easy
Podomatic.
podcast. That's what we're doing.
Actually,
Decide, boys.
Ms. Kiff, Greg, I'll pay you guys $100 each to take Brotherhood Without Manners.
No,
fuck
shut
those
up. We're not.
assholes.
We're
Such a
not
good
into your-
name.
We're not into your stupid show.
That stupid
Fuck
Skyrim.
you,
shit.
asshole. What, Skyrim? By the way,
Okay.
Vex hasn't even made an argument yet. We gotta.
Vex, can you just get out? What are you doing?
Yeah, just give me.
Just get out.
Vex is looking down right now.
Vex
He's really
is just
sad.
typing in chat. He's just. Vex is just typing.
He's saying
because you guys fucking talk over me.
Okay, Vex. Wait, let's give Vex his place. Okay, Vex, go ahead. No, let him talk, guys. Let him talk. Come on. Eventually, it'll
We
come
need to
through.
email these guys a picture of my dick and say it's our podcast now. That's it. They're not gonna fight that.
I heard dick. That's all I heard.
Yeah,
Dude, this
send
is
them
like a
picture of
horror
my dick.
movie. Look at
What's
Vex's
wrong
still
with
frames.
What's wrong with my fucking frames? I don't get it.
It's like,
Sorry, I'm using Windows Movie Maker for my webcam.
Looks like you're sending us postcards for your webcam. You're like Hampton Brandon, live streaming via postcards.
oh my goodness.
Hampton Brandon, banned on every platform, live streaming through Vex's shitty webcam.
Oh my god.
Goodness
All right, we'll
gracious.
figure out the name, guys, off stream. I think Easy's a good start. We'll go from there. We'll figure something out.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think that about sums up this episode. Right?
Well, first
Yeah.
of all, I really appreciate not just taking the name and saying "fuck you" in the first place, because a lot of people would have done something like that, and that was when I told other people about this situation. A lot of people went to that right away. Oh, like everyone's like, "Oh, a bunch of assholes." I'm like, just stop assuming the worst out of humanity.
Nah, we're soy boys,
and
man.
so I really
we're on
appreciate
this,
not just
man.
taking the
Oh,
name
yeah.
and saying "fuck you."
Well, no, truly, when Matt first brought it up, I was like, yeah, I kind of thought, yeah, that's a shitty situation. Like, we don't want to, because you're right. Like, we just started out. This is literally our third episode. If you could even, this is like a bonus episode even. So yeah, man. I mean, it's totally fine. And
Yeah, if it was our fourth episode, I'd be like, dude.
yeah,
I'm
fourth
out.
episode, you guys would be done. You guys would be done. we would get
Did anybody notice
lawyers.
this dude's shirt is off?
I don't know. Can we
There
take
was a
Vex?
shirt and then there was no shirt. It was,
What the hell, man?
Dude, Vex, you look like an anime right now. You literally look like you look like you're in Boku no Pico.
Boku no Pico. What
That's what he looks like. Look at that still frame. How can you not love that face?
Yeah, I could not love that face. Oh,
What the fuck is going on? Oh my gosh.
Boku no
that's the
Pico,
face
yeah.
of a generation.
Yeah, literally.
Oh,
Face
yeah,
of a
we'll
man
straight
who escaped
back
North
on.
Korean camps.
We should link your guys' podcast in the description of this video. And anyone listening, you guys should check them out. Give them some feedback. I'll check out. I
may
checked out a
wanna-
little bit, but I'll check.
you may
out
want
more.
to change your name. Have you guys thought about like putting the space in between?
Yes, that has been a thought that has been in my
I'm
head.
pretty sure that's come up. Yeah.
yeah.
You really should have actually. You know what? Because that would have saved it. Like, who the fuck wouldn't put the space there?
This
No,
guy.
but
That's
it's
a
fine.
good
That's
question.
fine.
Who would put a space there?
Hey, guess what? Now that we're coming to this agreement, we're changing our name. You guys have that free. What's it called? Free real estate. You know.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm definitely gonna put that fucking space there.
Nice pit hair, dude.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
put your space there. Don't ever have Vex on your.
Never invite this guy. He has 500k subs, and he's pretty much a deadbeat.
You know, let me say this to Shawn and Kyle. Good shit, man. I'm looking at your Thought Patrol podcast YouTube page right now. You guys only have 41 subs.
How much did you guys pay Red Team to
They
be
didn't
members
pay
for
me
this
anything. I'm just
episode?
trying to be nice. I'm just trying to be nice. No, besides this, despite them only having less than 100 subscribers, they go through it almost every week. So good shit.
yeah.
Not giving up.
That's
Yeah.
why. Yeah, that's
Look,
why I
look
was
at
like.
look at their layout, dude. Like, they got a
Like, you can
banner,
do it on
everything,
stream.
Photoshop, thumbnails are good. Holy fuck, Greg, they could help you out with thumbnails, man.
Oh
Heard you need a
shit.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I like when you told me about it. I was like, all right, yeah, we're gonna change. I knew we were gonna change our name from the beginning when you told me, because like it's one thing if you did it like once every like 5 months, and then you're like, oh, dude, like we had a podcast a month, like 2 months ago, and it was like shit effort. But you guys like put effort into it. You're trying to like grow completely every week. You do it. So I was like, yeah, like 100%, we're gonna give you the name. I knew we were
To be
gonna
honest,
give you the name. I
I
just wanted to fuck around.
I kind of want to pay these guys to run my fucking podcast. They're on top of shit.
I'll definitely be willing to show you how to do all that, get it everywhere kind of thing.
Thank you,
It's-
brother.
It's not as
Honestly,
hard as
Greg,
it sounds.
you come up with these guys. They know where to. Facts, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we can. I mean, we have their contact info.
It's so hard to pay attention because
Yeah.
I'm watching this Shirt terrorist, light shit on fire with his arm hair.
He's gonna start branding
Vex
himself.
gets really upset when he loses lawyer cases. So
I told you, they're not gonna fucking see you. Who gives a fuck?
All right, guys. I think we're good with this episode. We figured it out. Check out the Thought Patrol
can we use
podcast.
Vex
No
as the
space.
next thumbnail?
Matt, can you get their link and put it in the description and the chat, just so
Yeah,
people
yeah,
can
yeah.
check them out? That was Kyle and
Devilman.
Shawn.
Shawn, Devilman Shawn. They have their own podcast. Check them out. And maybe, you know what? Maybe in the future we could have you guys on again, or you. Or
Hey,
we
you guys
can be
are
on
you guys are
yours.
fun. Thank you guys for coming on.
Would
Honestly,
be
you
a
guys,
pleasure.
You
Yeah,
guys
we
were
appreciate it.
could have been assholes and been like, "Fuck you,"
Yeah.
like, no, just give us our name. But you guys were like, "Oh yeah, let's go on
Yeah.
and fuck around."
We just want to do this fun little, thing and just have a little discussion. That's fine. And inform our viewers what's
Thank you
going
guys
on.
for tuning in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from Vex.
And Vex, we'll have Vex on at some point when he takes his medication again. And, until then, we're just keeping him there in that little box. It's not actually a room. It's actually a fucking insane asylum.
Yeah, dude. We should have a Vex cam. I think that's a good idea.
We really should just have a
Just at all
24-hour
times.
Vex cam.
Exactly.
Dude, forget
Just
a
li-
podcast. Just Vex cam.
Dude, you should just live stream him on Twitch at
That
all
would be
times.
Genius.
Yeah, that'd be the-
well, he's
There
there.
you
You
go.
5
go.
minutes, a nurse is going to will his medication in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how you
Alright.
guys are even shitting on Vex. You don't even know that. But you're just like,
Dude, how could you
Shitting
not
on
shit on Vex? He's pretty much
Do you
just...
know who the fuck I am?
No,
I
dude.
was banned for fucking terrorism.
In all honesty, Vex, you seem like the life of the party, dude. You be that guy at the
Yeah,
party.
Vex, I
that,
already love you.
yeah,
It really is. I love Vex. I really do. We all love Vex, guys. Am I
By the way,
right?
he's
Oh,
not
by the way,
joking.
Blink,
He
you
was
want a
banned
fucking
from
dream
Twitch. He was banned from Twitch for terrorism. He's not joking on that.
Yeah.
one.
I'm not fucking joking. Don't fuck with me, guys. Are you sure you want to keep that Thought Patrol name? Are you sure?
I don't think that's how lawyers work.
Okay. Anyways, guys.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Peace out. Check out the video, the VOD. Yeah, we're going to have it up later today, edited. All right. Bye.
Hugs and kisses and all your
Okay.
pink parts. And now for something completely different.
Yes, indeed. The boys are back in town. And I got Tyler, our boy, the mythical man himself, the legend, the god, the WWE wrestler only on Saturdays. Tyler, how you doing, bud?
Dude, like, only Waldo can hide just as long as I can.
What?
I was like, what do I say? My long, like, way to return, like,
Duh.
I don't know.
It's gotta be,
But,
it's gotta be something
yeah,
cool.
you guys
When I think
fucking-
cool, what's the first thing that pops in my head? Got it.
Waldo.
Waldo.
It had like 10 seconds and he came up with a guy who hides inside pornable
Yeah.
pictures with a sock
So-
hat.
Yeah, but you guys finally dragged me out of hiding, and I'm glad to be back. I've been out of the whole loop for a while. Been kind of keeping track with what's been going on the Discord chats and stuff like that, but not so much. So, but hey, it's good to be back, and I'm more than happy to talk to you guys and kind of catch up and see what's going on. So, yeah.
Life wasn't the same without you, my friend.
Indeed, indeed.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Much obliged.
We're always glad to have the family back and enjoying your presence and shit like that. So, for those of you tuning in, I probably already explained what's going on, but that all happened, what you just listened to. And I really appreciate Glink and Ms. Kiff and for having us and all that stuff and not being total assholes about the whole situation and letting us keep our name practically. So good on their part. We appreciate them. If those guys sounded cool, feel free to check them out. I'll have a link to their stuff in the description below and all that stuff like that. We're really appreciative of them for just being nice people, because you can't always expect that on the internet. And a lot of people I talked to about this situation, their first thought was to assuming the worst out of people kind of thing. So we're glad everything worked itself out. And here we are. We brought all our beautiful selves here, and we're going to kind of just roll with it a bit and do a little bit of some additional stuff on the end. Some of the stuff we usually do, some news, the mailbag as always. And we're just going to hang out here and talk. for the most part, real quick to talk about that whole situation, never would have thought any of this would come about. But the way that we had our YouTube channel set up, this was probably going to happen at one point or another without that fucking space. Good news is I took the time, the break in between, to go through every single thing that has our name on it and put that space. So that space is now there for everyone to witness the gloriousness of that space. And I have a new profound love for the space bar, especially after hitting it 100.
Using the space bar, Kyle.
Exactly. So that's been solved. Hopefully Google doesn't fuck us again in the future, and we'll be good to go. I don't blame anyone here for what has happened. I think it was a big wake up call for us as a smaller channel that things like this can come about. And again, we're lucky that it never turned into anything serious. So again, very appreciative of everyone in play, and we kind of made some friends a little bit, or acquaintances at the very least. I make people friends very easily. Like in my head, at least. Like if I've talked to someone for 30 seconds, we kind of hit it off. Hey, that's a friend, until they wrong me.
Are you talking about the friends in your head?
Yes, the
Like
friends
the
in my head.
voices?
Yes.
Yeah, you could befriend them pretty quickly.
Yes. So
I do like the fact that one of the first statements you made in public to one of them was "your mom gay," and then the crickets that happened afterwards.
yes, indeed.
Like I'm just sitting there going, "Holy shit, that's awkward." So I mean, the people just listened to it, but you haven't heard it yet. So one of them came up with the idea that we'd all state positions, and it was going to kind of rotate around the group, and I was last on the list. And by the way, I think I said 12 things the entire time. Like I was absolutely the most useless.
Well, I mean, you brought up like the whole legal aspect of it. That we technically own the name Thought Patrol Podcast because we've been using it.
Thought Patrol Podcast.
Yeah. But so when it comes Kyle's turn to state the position, I shit you not, he went hardcore dweeb. It was like and then he's like, "Your mom gay." Okay, I'm done.
Actually,
Dude, there was crickets afterwards. I was cringing so hard.
kind of wish I was there for that moment.
Hey,
sounds-
listen
And
back
one
to
of
the
guys,
episode, dude.
Thank God, like he stopped and paused for a second. I could see him going, "What the fuck do I do with that?" And then he's like, "Mom." Well, she's not answering, so I can't comment.
Yo, sister, mister.
We all know that the appropriate comeback for that is your dad lesbian. So yeah, that's how you destroy someone. That's like middle school level yelling at each other on the basketball
Right,
court.
like you activated my trap card. Banished to the devil realm. Boom.
So,
Pegasus?
this is kind of weird the way we're going to do this. So, real quick, I guess we'll do intros. I guess that's what we're actively doing right now. So how's your guys' weeks been? I know we haven't talked to you in forever, Tyler, so I'm going to have you go first since no one's heard from you in a while. How's everything been going with you?
Instead of my week, it's like whatever phase of time I was gone for. So within that that time frame.
How's the last 6 months been, dude?
Yeah, right. When actually was the last podcast
that you were on?
It was
It was
probably
like right before you moved to Tampa, or right after you moved to Tampa.
Yeah, Claremont, but
Claremont, yeah, that's what I meant.
But
Yeah.
you're in the general Central Florida area.
Dude,
I
I'll
guess.
figure it out. I'm going to go back 10
Yeah, because
episodes.
we were
You guys
supposed
talk.
to come and hang out, and then we
I'm
never
just
did.
saying
'cause
within
we're
10. Yeah. But dude, we gotta hang out sometime, Shawn. Now that I'm up here, because
Totally do.
we're probably like I've been thinking about this between like you and Tyler. Like we're probably within an hour, maybe a little bit more. But like I'd be down to like hang out one day. Like that'd be pretty badass. But anyways, so it's been pretty cool. I think I don't think I've been on a podcast actually since I moved into my apartment. So and that was in February. That was like February 12th or something like that. I think it was. Yeah. It was like the 12th or 10th. Anyway, so it's been a couple months. So given that time frame, Kyle, that
Episode 19. You're on episode 19.
I feel like that's way too far back. There might have been like one more, but hey, maybe I don't know.
Were you on you were on the spooky the Halloween episode?
No, yeah, I think I was thinking of he popped into a Discord call with us at some point, but it
You
may
were
not
on-
have been.
You were on
I
25.
think that was the last time
I've never
we were talking.
I've never popped into a call. I've always like been full length, so that could have been someone
Well, I
else.
mean, you were on a call. That's what I
Yeah.
remember. I remember
okay.
having a conversation with you, but it might not have been a podcast.
Episode
Gotcha.
25 was the Halloween episode, and you were there. So I know
Okay.
that.
So that
I think
so
I'm
there,
thinking it
that
was
might have actually been
25.
the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because
Which is almost half a year, so 6 months. Yeah.
wow, that is scary. That is terrible. All right, I'll see you all after this podcast. I'll see you guys again in 6 months. All right.
Yeah, dude.
No.
But yeah, it's been good. Work as a firefighter and all that stuff.
Have
saving
you
lives as
saved a
usual.
cat from a tree?
No,
You're not living the dream, dude.
It's still no,
Have you,
dude.
have
I've
you
saved the
backdrafted
dog.
your way through a house and saved like a
Backdrafted.
room full of virgin? I don't know.
Virgin
Stop
what?
the virgin
What-
sacrifice.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
modifier.
what other kind of
I don't
virgins
know,
is he
but
looking for?
I liked where your mind was going there, Shawn. That'd be cool. Who knows? Something like that could happen one day. It's very
He
possible.
looks
You never know.
around. He's like, "Well, the
potential.
fire's going kind of slow. So, what are you ladies up to?"
Yeah, right.
Well, isn't
It's about to
a
get-
isn't a
It's about to
back
get a little bit
isn't a
hotter.
backdraft when the fire is reintroduced to oxygen and it causes an explosion?
Yeah, it's super
It's-
dangerous.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to picture this whole event. So Tyler using a backdraft to propel himself through a house. That'd be pretty dope.
Mm-hmm.
Into a pile of virgins.
Yeah.
A whole pile of them.
Yes, who are on fire.
You like kill half of them and break like a bunch of bones, and you're like, oh man, it cushioned the blow.
Damn, you guys are savage.
Oh,
Wow.
God, what the fuck?
You guys are savage.
Oh man.
Oh,
That's
God, I
pretty
hope to
cool.
God his girlfriend doesn't listen to this.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna tell her about it though. But like, yeah, maybe on a podcast. But what kind of podcast? That sounds pretty cool. And it's like,
The Thought Patrol podcast.
Listen, yeah, to
That's
Tyler's
wonderful.
future ex-wife, I meant nothing about the pile of virgins. I swear to you, he rarely does that.
Rarely.
Barely.
Yeah. We don't have it on
Very,
footage,
very,
so it doesn't count.
every once in a
Yeah,
exactly,
It doesn't
exactly.
count.
If it was not recorded and put on the Pornhub, it did not happen.
And as
Quick,
we all
someone-
know,
someone delete
everything
that
ends
video.
up on Pornhub.
Indeed,
Yep.
in one way or another.
People are going now to like the Pornhub, to, like opening up another tab. They're trying to like put it in like firefighter, sex virgins in burning house. Like,
I bet you it exists somewhere. I bet you it exists somewhere. There's got to be a
Yeah.
porn for it.
definitely.
So, have you had a chance to play any games in the last 6 months?
Yes, I have, and so I don't know if you guys might hate me for this, but I think about 6 months ago is when I kind of hated it, and up until now, it's like I've slowly.
Fuck.
I like it now a lot, but I've been playing a lot of Fortnite. So nothing story oriented, just a lot of battle royale. And it's so funny how I felt like I'd never played this game, and now I play it like if I play something, that's chances are, or I'll turn the Xbox on or the PlayStation. That's what I'll be playing. Like
Yeah.
nothing else. Even though I'll try to play something else, I have not really played anything new. So the only thing I've gone back to recently, besides Fortnite, was I actually started playing Dark Souls 3 again. I was playing the Ring City DLC because I had just started that. And I remember I had stopped at the part where I was about to make entry to the boss before he actually gets to the Ring City, but he gets to the boss with a demon in pain and demon from below, and then when you kill it becomes the demon prince or something like that. But that was an awesome boss battle.
Oh yeah, it was really
So-
cool.
Did you download Bloodborne when it was free?
I already had it. I wish I did download it though. But I had it on disc, so I was gonna download it and then like sell the game to get some sort of money.
Get a whole $3.
To
Yeah,
get-
I've never
to get all
played
25
it,
cents
yeah.
of it. Really?
I haven't done it.
Oh.
I've only done the Siege, the 2D super hard games like Slain and shit like that.
Right.
I've never done. And of course, the old ones like Ghouls and Ghosts and Ninja Gaiden and
Mm. Oh, Ninja
Mega
Gaiden,
Man.
that's fun. Yeah.
But I haven't done the 3-dimensional ones like Dark Souls and pretty much the other ones.
Oh,
So
and Ninja
the only
Gaiden
one I
is-
have is the free one.
Oh, you're talking about the old Ninja Gaiden when you said Ninja
Yeah, I
Gaiden.
played all the 8-bit ones. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden made me destroy more than a handful of fucking Nintendo controllers. And I think it was Nintendo platformers that taught me cursing. I'm almost positive that it was games like that gave me game rage.
Oh my god!
For sure.
And imagine that was like before multiplayer, so it's like you already knew an array of like curse words. And then when multiplayer became a thing, it was like you were able to use those and enhance them. And then it's like meanwhile your mom's like, what is that kid saying? Like, I'm gonna go up there and whoop his ass.
Yeah. Well, I distinctly remember a moment where I was screaming. I think it wasn't Overwatch, but I don't remember what game we were playing, and I fucking just went off with like the worst things I could say about that person's family and their children and then their descendants, and something involving like forced intercourse with chainsaws. And I remember my mother was in proximity at the time, and she kind of walked around and said, "What the fuck? I don't understand what's happening right now."
My son.
So yeah, she's like, how does anything like that come out of a person?
Your father.
I'm like, come and play this game and you'll find out. But yeah, so I actually have Bloodborne now, and Hector and I are planning on playing, and if you have it, then I could play that with you too.
Yeah,
you
I'd
have
be down to play.
your
Absolutely.
Festacion.
Yes, sir. It definitely adds to like in terms of like the 3D. It adds to like a layer of depth to it. But I mean, not to say anything bad about two-dimensional, obviously, because that obviously has its own depth. See, I find it funny how like a lot of fans will come between like 2D and 3D because you'll play. Some people, or like a lot of like friends that I know that played like a lot of classic games and play games now, they'll go back to like 2D and they hate it. It's like because they're so used to having that three-dimensional setting where it looks a lot more realistic, and you can bring up things like graphics and just better like gameplay overall because of the way how things are more smooth now. People are more like accustomed to that. Like for example, it's like seeing like the Marvel movies now, like the CGI, like everything looks so real as compared to like what the heck was that one terrible superhero movie that came out like the early 2000s? Spawn.
Oh God, there's so many.
I know, Spawn being one of them. Spawn was just like if you
Spawn
saw the
was
CG,
pretty bad. When I saw it, I loved it, and then I went back and watched it like 10 years later. I was like, "Oh my God, what was I thinking?"
Right, but that's like just like seeing how graphics look are like how they look now and compared to how they were back then. Obviously.
They feel more mechanical to me now. When you're a kid, your brain is much more flexible in terms of how it learns because there's two kinds of learning. I don't remember what they're called, but it's like static and something. I don't remember, but I do know that one kind of learning always works well. But the other kind of learning, the older you get, the less flexible it becomes. So when you're younger, it's actually easier to play games like Mega Man and Ninja Gaiden than it is when you're older.
It's called being cynical.
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah, but
I see exactly.
You have an actual set of reflexes. Your brain learns about the game and learns how to play the game. And if you stop playing it and you go back to it 10 years later, no matter how good you were, you are absolute shit. And you have to completely relearn everything from the ground up. And even though mechanics-wise, games like Dark Souls and games like, whatever, Mega Man or Ghouls and Ghosts or whatnot are equally hard in terms of mechanics, the old ones feel more mechanical because they're less immersive. So you're paying closer attention to where, like, how many pixels in you are and your exact placement of where you've got the character on screen and exactly how many times you can do this. And you're memorizing levels, and it's a shitload of trial and error, which is very similar to how the Dark Souls, system of games works. But I feel like those add a certain layer of immersion and don't require nearly as much imagination. So when you go back and play the old ones, it's, for lack of better description, it's more like working with something rudimentary, like a Rubik's Cube or a Chinese ball puzzle or something like that, where it's still difficult and it's still fun, but it's more fun because of the mechanics and less because of the other fun stuff that's involved with it. Because your imagination just isn't, you actually have to work to get involved in the plot of fucking Mega Man, whereas you don't have to work nearly as hard to be immersed in the world of like Dark Souls, because it has a higher level of realism. It's got the ability to give you more in terms of a fleshed out looking world. So that's what I've experienced is when I go back and I play these classic games, I am less interested in them over long periods than I would be with something that's more immersive because it has more of a well visually built universe. So it's harder. I can play Mega Man, but I only do it for like a half an hour to an hour. And then I'm like, fuck this, and I'll go back and I'll play a 3D game because that's more immersive to me. So I think it's just that we're trained to kind of adapt to the new thing, and going back to the old thing, like anything in life, you rarely go back to something that you've left behind for long.
Damn, we have video games and life lessons at the same time.
Indeed. All right, so the original question is, what have you guys been fucking doing? So,
Yeah, right. See how that we just fucking just
It's a big ass tangent.
oh big
All
time.
right, so Tyler, you've been enjoying your PlayStation.
Yes,
I
yes.
see that. Fortnite's been a big part of your life.
Yeah, Fortnite's been a big part of my life. I've only playing the mobile game too recently, like whenever I can.
That's good.
So-
That's good.
Yep. That's it.
What about you, Shawn?
I've been I've taken a break from gaming for the last 2 weeks, and every now and then I'll step back in and grind with my my armies in Ni no Kuni 2, which is the worst part of that game is grinding the armies because they level up so fucking slow. But for the most part, I've been catching up on anime and movies. Like I've been watching, just cycling through, because I have like 400 movies in my watch list on Netflix. I've got a shitload of stuff on anything that looks even remotely appealing or has an actor in it. I'll throw it up there and intend to come to it later, and I fucking don't. And then I've got a bunch of shit on Crunchyroll and on what's the other thing I use, Kyle? Prime, Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
And I've been considering incorporating Hulu simply because of
Hulu's got.
I started a sister. Go ahead.
Hulu's got a lot of good stuff on it. Like I was looking through because Caitlyn picked it up to try it out to see what was on there. They have a shitload of anime on there, and a lot of it's really good.
Yeah. Well, that was one of their claims for competition about a year ago. Was they picked up a bunch of anime titles because Netflix usually only gets 5 or 6 at a time if you're lucky, and not a lot of people, except for people who are deep in the scene, are even aware of Crunchyroll. I mean, most of your general masses who enjoy anime on a more superficial level, who don't go dive into it as a hobby, get a lot of their stuff from like Netflix. So when Hulu threw it in there, and Hulu had this big TV audience, you know, it was a big selling point. Like a lot of people shifted over to Hulu for that. So I started a sister project to the Thought Patrol, which is the Streaming Geek, which I put on Facebook for now. It's not a traditional review site. I will watch a show and then I'll do some research on it and kind of read what other people have thought about it to see if there's anything that I want to quote or reference in there.
I think I've seen you post some of those on Facebook. Sorry, I'm pretty sure I've read a couple of those. Yeah, those are. I like them. They're into like good detail and whatnot.
I used to write. I wrote I think about 6 or 8 of them on a group that I have on Facebook, and the group I was really proud of the ones that I wrote, and I lost them because they were very deep. The problem is like I went so deep that I had to start. Basically, there was a little note at the top of every review. For those of you who do the TLDR thing, just skip to the last paragraph. And they could go to the last paragraph and get a basic rundown on my thoughts on the show, like it's really good, or don't watch it, or this thing eats my ass, etc., etc. And so in the new one, I haven't built them out as deeply. Like I wrote an essay on Hunter x Hunter, for instance. Like it was a legit essay. I mean, the thing was probably 5,000 words, and it went super deep into how the characters were built and the world was constructed, and why I felt it made important statements that other shows don't make, and why I felt that some of that might shoot over people's heads. And I'm not trying to go that deep for now. It's mostly just I have a discussion with whoever who's listening on whatever my thoughts are on the show. So sometimes I might dive into the music, or I might dive into the special effects. Other times I don't even mention the plot whatsoever, and I just talk about how I like how it treats the genre. And then I will put something of a review near the end of it, but it's more just my general thoughts, or whatever thoughts the show inspires me to have. And I put that up there, and I'll still make a suggestion for like who might enjoy it or who enjoys the audience, but I haven't really found what voice I want to use with it yet. But I do consider it a sister project to the podcast. And I have put links to the podcast on the page, but Facebook is fairly limiting in terms of what information you can put on there, which is horrible.
Let's not get political now.
Someone say Mark Zuckerberg, alien race. Oh man, he's a lizard
Yeah.
man. He's a lizard man.
They just don't let you put a lot of links in there. They don't let you put a lot of reference material. It doesn't give you much in the way of control. And it considers the page that I created as something of a business. So you have you can give Facebook money and they'll put you up there in people's feeds. There's different ways you can do it. I don't plan on using any of that for now, but that might be advantageous to us in the future. And I have to get on the project of creating the Thought Patrol's Facebook page also, which means we'll need the Thought Patrol email. Either I'll have to have access to it or I'll have to have you opening it and giving me the passwords and shit when I get this thing set up, because I want it to be separate. I don't want to create it under my Facebook profile like this other, like I had to do with this other thing, because then you won't have access to it without me giving you my Facebook information, and I'm not doing that.
Yeah, and I can't go put a bunch of dick pics on your profile.
No, I genuinely, I trust you with that, Kyle. It's just I've learned my lesson with taking anything social media and having anyone you trust involved with it. If anything happens, I just prefer to avoid the mess. So I want to set it up under its own thing.
All right.
If possible.
Yeah,
if
which
not,
is entirely
then,
possible.
You'll have access to my profile. I mean, if we have to do it that way, we'll do it that way.
There's an email for our podcast, so that's entirely fine. We could use that.
Yeah.
That was like the first thing I fucking made for us because everything revolves around that email. So to get some of the technical jargon, so I'm glad you're doing good, Shawn. Catching up on anime. Have you watched Boku no Hero?
No, I'm saving Boku no Hero for this week.
You're fucking dead to me.
Oh, well, fucking deal with it. I have watched 6, 7, like 8 series, 3 movies.
Come on, man. Have you listened to the new opening at the very least?
I've been trying to save it for the surprise. Like, I'm waiting for that. I'm going to be watching it by Friday, so...
Okay, it's so fucking good. It is my favorite opening out of all of them. And like that...
Is it better than that last one? Because that last opening song was kick-ass.
Yeah, it's my favorite. And the way... And the video that goes with it, fucking fantastic. It is so... It like, every time I watch it, it pumps me up.
It actually is. I fucking checked it out, too. It's fucking pretty good, dude.
And... Straight up, Shawn, that video's probably been out for 2 weeks. It's already got 4.6 million views on YouTube.
Damn, Kyle, you didn't take the bait. I was just joking.
Oh, how am I supposed to know? My hero's really fucking.
I thought you were gonna get a boner like from like, oh, Tyler's watching anime. Oh, like without me like in the picture. He's on his own. Like, he's fucking learning how to walk for the first time. Like, without any help.
In all honesty, if anything were to draw you in, it would be My Hero, because My Hero is so fucking huge right now. It's like the biggest anime that's currently going. It was getting the Attack on Titan craze when Attack on Titan first started. Everyone's talking about it. That and Darling in the
Hero's got a lot better story balance than Attack on Titan.
I think the pacing and
I think that's why it's so appealing, because they really do have everything down to an exact, precise science. A lot like the balancing they did with Avatar. Like, Avatar was so perfectly balanced in terms of how they switched from anything to anything.
This is the cartoon now. We're not talking about the movie.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Just making sure. Avatar: The Last Airbender.
No, it's just... Yeah, everything about how it's constructed is it feels like they're paying very, very close attention to all of the minutia to make things balance. Like, I can't think of any episode where I'm like, I wish that hadn't happened, or I think this would have been better if that was differently, or the music was too loud, or they spent too much time on that. Like, I have no complaints about Boku no Hero. I mean, the only complaint I ever had was the one you told me to fucking man up and work through it because it's worth it. And that was in the first, like, 4 episodes. He's such a little cunt.
Oh, Deku? Yeah, Deku's
just
a bitch.
want to fucking stop watching it. I was...
Like,
I had to fucking
the thing about it is it kind of reminds me of like OG Naruto. Naruto is a little bitch.
Sailor Moon to me. It reminds me of Sailor Moon.
Okay, well, Naruto, or like original little kid Naruto, was a little bitch and a punk, but he had a reason behind it. He didn't have any friends. His parents are dead, and so there's reasoning behind it. Now Deku isn't in that extreme, but Deku's the way his personality is shown, how the way it developed is shown to you, like from how he was a kid, how he's viewed himself, and the way that he's developed as a person. It's all presented to you, so they give you right off the bat the reasoning why he's a bitch, and it makes sense, which is okay. They tell you
he's overly sensitive from jump. Like, you can tell that he's an extremely emotionally sensitive person. Well, that's very uncommon amongst guys.
Yeah, and even on top of that,
where you have to put up face.
Yeah, and even on top of that, he's been it's that aspect, and the fact that he's special in a bad way because he doesn't have a quirk has been constantly reinforced in his life from when he was young. So he's just kind of just built to view himself as a loser from it's been constantly reinforced throughout his entire life, even by his own mother, which again is also presented in the in the
his
story.
dad's dead, right?
I don't know what's with his
He's never
dad.
in the story.
I've never seen his dad. I don't know about his dad. They might bring that up one time. His dad's All Might. Confirmed.
You want to know who's the little bitch in anime?
Who?
Shinji.
Shinji's a little bitch, yeah. I would agree. So.
From
But
Beyond Genesis.
he's also been through a lot. I mean, I guess
Is his dad
causing.
really All Might?
We can.
No, I'm fucking with you.
Oh
like
god,
that
I was gonna drive to South Florida just to fucking punch you in the kidneys if you blew that kind of shit for me.
No, his dad's not All
Like
Might.
I
I'm
read
fucking
some of the
with you.
manga, but there was none. I mean, All Might.
No,
that
his
would
father-
Fan theory.
You're one of my best friends, Kyle, and I would kill you.
Yeah, no, his father has not come into play as of yet. Deku's. Okay, so I'm glad you're all doing
So
well.
anyway,
I'm glad
yeah,
that you.
tangent. What about you? How was your week,
Yeah,
Kyle?
okay.
Oh, my week was good. I've been
You.
been playing a little bit of everything. Really, been moving between. I've been doing my grinding in Final Fantasy, trying to catch up to where Hector is. Get into Stormblood, which is taking forever. Probably because I'm not going full blown at it. But I've also been playing a lot of Siege. Fucking adore that game, especially on PC. Such a fun FPS, really good. I've also played a little bit of Overwatch here and there, not a lot. I just wanted to try the new event, see what it was like. It's good. I mean, I shit on I shit on the game all the time, but it's just more of a meme than anything else. I think it's a good game. It just doesn't appeal to me anymore as much as it used to.
I think I'm really gonna need your help with Final Fantasy because I dove in the deepest end of the pool with that fucking kit. I was not anticipating how complicated everything
for
is
Ninja?
when you
Yeah,
play
I'm
an
sure.
MMO. Yeah, like that shit's like MLG Pro, and I'm fucking like I know how to play Mario. Like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with that thing, and like it's hard to use.
Yeah, I've heard
for somebody
Ninja's
who's
the most,
never done that before.
like is the most mechanically like demanding,
Intensive.
but also one of
Yeah.
the most rewarding DPSs of the game too, and that's why they're so sought after, just in raids and stuff like that. But besides that, I've been watching anime too. Just the weeklies that have been coming out. I've been watching Boku no Hero. Watched the second episode. Really good. I'm like we're moving. We know that Boku no Hero usually doesn't take its time to fuck around. We usually kind of move into stuff pretty quick. So we're moving into the training arc, which is going to be exciting. Seeing Deku and everyone kind of manifest their quirks more, kind of strengthen themselves, and stuff like that. I have not yet seen the new episode of Persona 5. I need to watch that. I'm fucking loving that anime. It is so good. And I've played the entire game. I know the entire story. It's the exact same, but just to see this world again and be back in this world is just has me excited.
Is it gonna really hurt me to watch the show before I play the game? Am I gonna need to wait?
You'll just know the story. And I don't know how far they'll delve into the story. I'm assuming they'll hit the major plot points, and there are a few twists in the game. So if you want to fully experience the story in its glory, I do recommend playing the game first.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I'd stay away from it.
Haven't you been playing Sea of Thieves as well, Kyle?
No, fucking Sea of Thieves is No Man's Sky.
I told you. Nobody believed me.
Now listen.
I said that was going to happen. I predicted it down to the last detail.
Listen.
You were telling me to get it. Tyler was telling me to get it.
Have you noticed that no one has talked to you about it in like 3 weeks? You know what
I've been
happened.
off the face of the earth for like 6 months. So I mean, I don't even fucking.
Don't
know
even touch. Don't even touch. As of right now,
$60 tech demo.
As of right now, there's no need to touch Sea of Thieves. I luckily did not buy it. I did the Xbox Game Pass. I played it for a week, and I didn't want to play it anymore, so I didn't spend a single penny. Poor Hector and Tyler did shell out the money for it. That sucks. $60 down the drain. Maybe eventually it will get better. Hopefully, Rare does something to make it appealing. But it's pretty much just.
I was watching you guys do like a little. You guys were playing. I was watching. It looked like a lot of fun. Like you guys would be having a good time.
that's the trap, right? The gameplay itself feels fun, but it's almost like a Destiny kind of thing, where you get drawn in with the looks, the gameplay. Destiny's a lot better than Sea of Thieves, I would say, because there's much more in Destiny, in all honesty. But when you fully dive into it, you realize that there's not much there. It's pretty much like you'll literally go somewhere, Tyler. You'll read a riddle, get a chest, go sell it, and that's it. You'll go find a chicken, go sell it, that's it. You go kill some skeletons.
It's basically the beta. It's almost the same thing as the beta.
You know what it is?
There wasn't much to do in the beta.
It's a early access game in disguise. That's what I've heard it being labeled as, and that makes perfect sense. It's an early access game that's in disguise. So you drop the $60 now to play it.
Until it was finished.
I don't know, Microsoft.
Fucking glad I
they
waste
need
money on that then.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy it whatsoever. It's cool that it's crossplay, and I want more games that are like this. Like I could play on PC and play with you on Xbox. That's really fucking cool. Same thing.
Yeah, that's what Tyler was telling me.
Same thing with Fortnite. If you ever want to play Fortnite, we can play with you on PC.
Yeah, I can play with you too.
Yeah,
Well,
and if me and Shawn ever go back to it, we can play the PvE, and we can play with each other, and we can hang around.
PvE, yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to is the PvE.
Yeah. So that's all possible, and I love that aspect, that idea. I mean, I don't know how far that gap is between Xbox One and PS4 because they fucking hate each other for some reason.
They've talked about it too in the past, especially if you get like a game like Fortnite on board.
Yeah, but just
I love how Phil Spencer likes to drive the point home that he's super nice, but Sony's not being nice. Like every time Sony does something awesome, like God of War has gotten rave reviews, and he's like, "Hey, Sony, great job with God of War. Super happy for you guys." And then everybody's like, "Yeah, and Sony won't let them crossplay." Like,
and then Xbox
for
is
all
sitting
the
there.
fuck-ups they do with Xbox is like he's doing good trying to make them look pretty.
And then Xbox sitting there on their mountain of no exclusives. Heh,
Yeah.
got 'em.
I don't think that's going to change anytime soon either. No matter how hard they work at it,
Dude,
I don't think they're going to be able to do enough.
Dude,
I can't
Shawn,
wait till
Crackdown.
No.
Have you played any of the Crackdown?
No, I haven't.
Those are fun for they're fun for about 20 minutes and then they're boring.
Who took over Lionhead Studios because they're talking about doing the new Fable game, and I loved Fable. Oh my god, I'm looking forward.
That would be
for
something that would bring Xbox back if they make a really good Fable game.
That was definitely a
Well,
good.
But you see, they've also
Yeah.
no, he's gone. They've also fucked themselves. They shot themselves in the foot because one of the problems here now is I don't need to buy an Xbox. I mean, I could still support their games, but with their Play Anywhere thing that they're doing, I have no need to own an Xbox One.
Yep.
None whatsoever.
That's been the
It's still
for a while.
Microsoft too. See, they're still making money regardless.
No, they will be. I'm just
That's
saying.
been the whole idea is to transition Xbox into a software platform instead of a hardware platform.
And
that
makes me happy.
Yeah.
I don't need to own an Xbox. I never have to touch a footstool in my life, and we're good to go. And I just play things on the PC.
It's the end of an era.
Yeah, it is interesting, and it is interesting to see where we move forward, especially with these rumors of PlayStation 5, although it's probably at least a few years out still. Seeing what's going on, this whole generation's been fucking weird with like the half generation, consoles, and then the Switch being really big, but the Switch technically being last generation because that's just how Nintendo is, if not probably last generation. And then that being super big.
Leap beyond the Wii U. It's not a huge leap.
No, I'm saying like last generation, like 360, PlayStation 3 level.
I think you're still going to have people making gaming consoles, but I don't think they're going to be consoles like we've known them. I think they're going to be more along the lines of they're just going to take a low-level PC and they're just going to put it in a pretty box that you can plug and play.
Like,
you know,
it's going to be plug and play PCs.
It'd be interesting if they did something along the lines where forget the numbers, just call it PlayStation or something, and then just add a year to every time. So like that, and that's how you can tell. There's no confusion with that, like the whole confusion between the 360 moving to the One. Everyone's like, who do, and all that whole shit show that was Xbox One's reveal and launch. And then every few years, I don't want it to be like phones, which would be awful, where every year we get a new model. That's a little bit better. I like the cycle that we.
It's likely to do that, right? Like
it's entirely possible.
Make sense if they did that.
But I'd like something that would be along the lines of the cycle we have. Every 5 to 8 years, we get a new thing. But just stop confusing people with all these fucking names and just put up like PlayStation 2020 whatever, and then maybe if they want to do a mid-generation update like the PlayStation X, they just do PlayStation 2019, and then this is a slightly better PlayStation than the 2018 version or 2020 version, whatever the fuck. You understand what I'm saying?
I feel like they might get there because it's like a lot of things now that are like numbers, like the iPhone now. Like I think when the iPhone not the iPhone, but the Samsung Galaxy came out, I think it was like it started getting popular around 2 and 3. I think it was 3 when they had like the big screen. That was the competitor against iPhone. It was like, oh, we have the curved screen and like a bigger screen. And I remember they're playing Angry Birds. It's like, oh, this looks better on this because of like blah blah blah. You know, the frames and the quality is like better than iPhone.
All that technical lingo. The frames.
Yeah, yeah. And it was like they were at 3, and I think iPhone was just about to get to 5 at the time. I remember Android went like I think they skipped or they released like 2 phones like in the same year, and I want to say it was like either 5 and 6 or 6 or 7, and I think now because how iPhone now is on 8 or 10 if you get whatever the X, I think Samsung has 9 and they'll be releasing 10, so it's like they were like trying to catch up to them to be on par. But it's like after a while, it'll get kind of boring where you hit these higher numbers. Like everyone liked it was cool to hear like 1, 2, or 3 or 4 even. But now it's like getting kind of
we're at
like,
10.
Okay,
like what the
old.
fuck?
It's getting old. Like are we gonna get to like? I remember that they made fun of that in I forgot which Back to the Future it was, but when they made Jaws, it was like Jaws 23 or something like that. Or Jaws like 17. It's like. That just sounds terrible. It sounds like a run on. Like you,
well, then,
like you get the same
what
thing
we get
and
to
you get bored of it.
is again, it gets that they go for like the
You need a
minimalistic.
refresh.
You know what they do is they change the type. They're going to drop the Galaxy name.
It'll be
at
something
10.
else. Yeah.
I swear to you, it'll be the Galaxy 10,
It'll
and
be
then they'll
like
call it
the
the
Spectrum
Ulysses
or something.
or the Butt Fart 1, or
Damn.
like
I was going for something
I don't know.
modern, but that works too.
Or they also a lot of the time they'll take the minimalistic approach, like what they do with reboots, where this is technically God of War 4, right?
The Sims
or God of War 5, and then
Yeah.
it's like boom, God of War, and then they'll do that.
Movies doing the same thing too, and it'll be iPhone, but it'll be like a slightly different logo, or it'll be like orange or something. Like who fucking knows?
All right.
So.
iPhone with an omelette above one of the letters.
Let's
so brutal.
Let's get to our housekeeping real quick.
Housekeeping.
We thank you guys all for tuning in.
Haven't said that in a while.
Yes, to the Thought Space Patrol podcast. Oh shit, getting fancy. We appreciate all you guys for tuning in every week and hanging out with us. We're gonna move to our housekeeping real quick. First of all, we have a Discord. Did you know that? You could come talk to us. Holy shit!
What? No way.
Check that shit out.
Who wants to talk to us?
Check that shit out in the description below. Come say hi to the host. We got a bunch of people in there that we hang out with on the daily. If you want to say, Shawn, your voice makes me cream loads, or Kyle, your cancers. Anything like that, we'd appreciate just hearing from you guys. Also, if you have anything that you hear from us that we talk about below, anything that interests you, feel free to leave a comment either on YouTube, our home base, or through some of the podcasting services. I know some of them have comment thingies. Also, speaking of YouTube, that is in fact our home base. We have all of our podcasts go up there. Our after hours go up there when we do them. We have gameplay up there, stream highlights, a bunch of stuff up there, more content for you guys to enjoy. Over there. Also, we have a Twitter at ThoughtPatrolPD. You can get announcements up there. When I eventually make the block schedule for the anniversary stream, it will be up there. Everything will be up there. So if you guys want to keep in touch with us without actually talking to us, that's a good way of doing so. And finally, we have iTunes reviews. Well, we don't have any new ones, but we have a way for you guys to tell us how much you love us and then help us show up for more people, which is the biggest use. If you guys want a way of helping us out, helping us grow, a couple ways: either subscribing on YouTube, telling your family about us, share with your mom our Kyle Ruin segment when I read dirty fan fiction.
Perfect dinner time conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Or leave us an iTunes review. All those ways are really good ways of helping us out. Even if it goes just as much as just saying hi, I like your guys' podcast. I cannot explain to you how helpful that is each week with us trying to do this podcast weekly, of hearing from you guys tuning in and just that you enjoy it, or you enjoy what's going on, or you giving us some solid feedback. Like you want me to cut out anytime Shawn talks so he's never there. I can do that. It's easy. Snap of the fingers. So
it's a big improvement.
Yeah.
God. Kyle plays God in this game.
Exactly. So with all that out of the way, we're going to move on to our mailbag segment.
Name of the podcast, The Kyle Plays God, right after we went on and mock battled for it.
Yeah.
They go and find another name, then they find out we're Kyle Plays God now.
Yeah. So let's move on to our mailbag. So this one's from Carlos Perez. So Carlos, I know that's your. I'm assuming that's your name just because it's in your Discord handle, but it's Carlos Perez Skates. We appreciate the question. Real quick. So, Bojangles and the rest of the Thought crew. Love the podcast and everything about it. The sense of jokes, sex stories, urban mythical sex words, and last second thoughts. See, someone does like that shit that I do at the end of every episode.
One person does not count.
Listen, he said he likes it.
Living
It's sticking.
soul on this earth that cares. It matters. It
Uh,
matters.
I'm just kidding, Carlos. You count.
Just wanted to know if you guys can create the video game of your dreams. What would it be? You can have any character, can have anything, no restrictions, nothing. So no budgetary restrictions, nothing like that. What do you guys think?
Titties are a must.
We'll start with Tyler. So
Titties
like
are...
dead ass, if you could create the game of your dreams that you can play and from any detail that you want, go.
It would definitely be I would say, a challenging adventure type game. Something that has like very immersive. A
So
lot
Dark
of
Souls.
detail. Well, hey, just because I'm not the Dark Souls guy all the time, but definitely in probably in a sense like that, but probably not difficult.
Okay, here, let's do this real quick. Just so I could give you kind of like a checklist. So I want to hear setting, main character, gameplay, and then style. We'll do those
Ooh,
five.
a spanking. Yes, a
Okay.
spanking.
So setting would probably be definitely a open world, like mountainous region, something like Skyrim, I'd say. Character, I'd say someone like John Cleese.
That works.
Oh yeah.
Little Monty Python back at you. Actually, you know, I like him as a voice actor. So sure, you know what? Why not? We'll fucking throw John Cleese in there. His sort of
Hey, dude, you have no restrictions.
exactly. Damn Skippy. So his sort of humorous, like I don't know. What, Shawn, how would you
He gets to be
describe?
your fable narrator.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
You could have him narrate the story. That'd be fucking perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. And our next adventurer, he wanders into this bar. So yeah, let's have John Cleese. But he's like a muscular John Cleese. So like he has that humor, but he's like a fucking buff ass dude that like gives no shits about anything. You know, he fucking gets all the babes and stuff like that. He'll like bash some loser, like, you know, if someone's like picking on him, he'll like throw him on the spot and just like tear him a new one, you know, something like that. But at the same time, be funny about it. So like everyone around him's thinking like, wow, this guy actually isn't that much of an asshole because he's like kind of funny at the same time. Ha ha ha. You know. So yeah, so he's pretty much he'll be like Dovahkiin, just like Monty Python style. So like a lot of that bland humor, like that's still very funny. What else was
Dry humor is what you're looking for,
there
not
you go.
bland.
I know. It's I don't know.
Wasn't that really
When I
boring,
first-
not funny humor?
Okay, no. When I first saw The Meaning of Life, it was in high school. Kyle, do you remember this? I think you were there. ROTC.
Yes, ROTC.
We had a substitute teacher,
Oh,
and he threw on a chapter. He threw on Monty Python, The Meaning of Life, and it was like the introduction. I remember like I was thinking about this humor. I think the very first word I thought was like, wow, this is very bland. But I was like, at the same time like, but it's awesome though. I loved it. Like the intro and everything, like with like the fucking old people and they like moved in the building. It was all like, you know, pirates like you know, they were plundering and shit like that and whatever. Anyways, get back on track. So yeah, so the setting, the character. You said the play type, the gameplay.
Yeah, gameplay.
Gameplay, I'd say like third person, like, you know, obviously it's like an RPG, and the style, you know, just kind of all that mixed in there. Like very adventurous, I'd say.
When I say style, I mean like like a theme. So like sci-fi or like
so like we'll go medieval
Okay.
times, something like that, like plague, mixed in with like a little bit of kind of like not gothic. Let's do like a what's the other time? The
Care Bears?
huh?
My Little Pony?
I remember Gothic My Little Pony. That reminds me of the Robot Chicken with the
Rainbow
with
Bright?
the death ponies. The four horsemen. Death Pony. Yes, I can imagine John Cleese with the fucking like dual wield swords, riding Death Pony like to fucking save the world, and he's like cracks like some cheesy one liner. That's it right there. And the title of that game would be, "Is it over yet?" with like 2 questions.
Look
Good.
at the death ponies as they come now.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, because
Majestic creatures, terrifying also, but very majestic.
I didn't
I do
state.
believe they've just stabbed an orphan with their hooves. Pretty.
That was good because I didn't state that I wanted the name, but I did want the name as well. So Shawn, your
There
turn.
you go. Sean, I
What?
can't wait to hear Sean's.
Shawn, it's your turn.
Oh, I was thinking like a McGruff the Crime Dog erotic dancing simulator.
Okay, so follow my checklist, Mister. So setting.
Come on. Yeah, 4 checklists.
I don't. I spent all of my elementary school days dreaming up, fucking video games. I used to draw the levels out, and of course back then everything was side-scrolling, so it was all fucking pitfalls and traps and shit. There isn't. I don't even know, man. I couldn't even think of it. Like the first thing I thought when I was watching Ready Player One, outside of the horrible work they did with the characters, was that
No
that is
spoilers.
my dream. Huh?
No spoilers. I haven't
I'm
seen
not
it.
spoiling anything. I
Okay.
put what my thoughts
I
on
really
Ready
wanna
Player
see that.
One up on Facebook.
I've read some of it. Yeah.
I tried not to put spoilers into it, but the what they did with the characters was the big crime. There's 3 horrible things they do in that movie that really tears apart the immersion big time, and it's unforgivable because that movie would have been perfect, and it's a movie that I've dreamed about forever. So if I had to pick a genre, I'd either go with cyberpunk or fantasy, and I would lean
Okay, so
toward.
there's style. Man, can you not go down the list in a proper fashion? God damn
What
it.
is your fucking list? You anally retentive
Okay.
son of a bitch.
Setting. Gameplay.
Setting. The gameplay would be. I don't know if I would pick cyberpunk or fantasy, but if I did do fantasy, it'd be high
Survival.
fantasy. I'm talking
Okay.
Record of Lodoss Wars type stuff, dragons and fairies and succubus and lich and
Oh.
knights and
Said
maidens and the whole
succubus.
nine. Like,
Succubus.
yes,
Or succubus too. They
I'm
suck.
saying like high fantasy. I would, if I did that, it would go somewhere between Lodoss Wars and Berserk. And if I did cyberpunk, it would lean somewhere between Ready Player One and Neuromancer.
Cool.
Um,
Okay.
and the gameplay either way would be roughly about the same. I would have it as a strategic turn-based RPG. And I don't know really, because I think with Cyberpunk, I don't think that would work as well. I think I might consider it being either one. I think it's more immersive these days. If I was going to do an RPG, I would do a JRPG style RPG, and that would be turn-based. That's the only way I want to play those kind of games. So if it was something more along, I would go cinematic. So I would do a third person, so you can see your character. So it'd be behind the character.
Okay.
That would probably be better for the vision that I would have. Maybe have elements of both. Maybe have certain types of combat could be a turn-based strategy, and certain types of combat, maybe in certain types of environments, could be the third-person kind of action RPG elements. But I think, especially with the Cyberpunk, I would do something along the lines of what they did in the Arkham games, because Cyberpunk typically will revolve around a lot of detective pulp fiction type stuff.
Yeah.
So you're going to be investigating a murder or trying to prove your innocence or something along those lines. And where Cyberpunk serves to make social observations about society, that's the vehicle you make those observations, those prophecies, and those warnings about the directions that we're taking, is through what's happening in the story and more even than that, the environment that the person's going through. So I would have that revolve heavily around the mechanics that they use in like a much more detailed investigative mechanic, kind of like what they use in Arkham, where you could zone in on specific places and pull data. Only I wouldn't have a miracle suit to do it with.
Yeah.
I think that would be really neat. Having really detailed, gritty environments and having a super multi-branched path. Do you kill the prostitute? Do you torture her for information? Do you try and befriend her so you can find out who the John was? Give the player all of these somewhat realistic choices that you would have in this position, and there would be consequences for those choices. I like that idea. Yeah.
Is your main character someone that you can customize? Like you pick the gender and you kind of deck them out with how you want them to look, or is it someone that you rather have set?
50%. You'll pick it to a degree. You can pick how your character looks. You can select some of your loadout, but because if you're going to have a good story, it needs to have tight scripting, which means I have to have some control over your character. I have to give you certain pieces of your history. So what you'd have to do is have 2 tracks of gameplay plot lines, one based off of your male, one based off your female. There will be a few unique things that would happen if you're male, a few unique things that happen if you're female, and the NPCs would have to react to you somewhat differently in certain circumstances. Like, for instance, the odds are it'd be easier to seduce a female if you're a male, and the odds are in your favor it'd be easier to seduce a male character if you're female. But then if the object and person in question happens to be, whether you know it or not, happens to have a different gender preference, your reactions would be different. The thing I don't like about being able to completely customize a character is the game isn't customized around that character, which means everything from that point forward is impersonal. So you're like in Skyrim, there's nothing that is personal to the character you're playing. Nothing. So I don't like that. And since the game would be tightly scripted around that character, you would have limited customization. You could pick your gender maybe, or you could pick a lot of the choices about your character, or maybe even go so far as to give you a history creator where you can select options about your character. That's a possibility, but my preference for games, since I'm choosing this, is I prefer a character that's built from the ground up outside of my knowledge, and I get to learn that character and learn what motivates them and learn what their history is. So if I was to give that kind of same experience, kind of like an interactive novel where you're learning about characters, it's no fun when I don't get to learn about the main character. So if there was any customization, it would more than likely be visual, and then you get to know who you are as you play. A lot of big cyberpunk thing is starting off without a memory at a murder scene, so I don't know how much customization would be good in a game like that. I'm not really big on blank slate characters like you guys are. I don't like Skyrim. The only reason why I played Fallout 4 at all was because your character basically has an established history, an established past, and starts out with a fairly static personality, and then you guide them a little to the left or a little to the right. But they are who they are, whether you interact with them or not to start with. And that made that much more appealing to me than the last ones where, it's a blank slate. It's just you're your dad's kid.
It's okay, Shawn. We can still be friends.
Yeah, I'm not knocking your flavor in it, man. A lot of people really like that. I just don't. So if there is customization, it'd be limited. Either way, the gameplay would be designed heavily around an epic story. So with the fantasy thing, I would lean heavily into Record of Lodoss Wars. I'd blur the lines between good guy and bad guy and make you decide what you believe is right. And I don't want it to be historically accurate. I don't want it to be super realistic. I want to give people something to escape into. So either way, the emphasis would be on story and narrative beyond anything. What were the other boxes I'd have to check?
The last one was name. You're doing good.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't put any thought into designing the game, so I couldn't possibly give them a name. But if I did,
no.
The
game itself,
what?
A name.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the game.
Cyberpunk 2077.
Off the cuff here. No, with the Cyberpunk game, you'd have to give it something overly dramatic. Like all Cyberpunk games have a very dramatic name, and typically speaking, you're looking at one of those Sam Spade novel types.
The last sniffed fart.
Into the Electric Blue Sea, or the Dream Web, or
Oh, that sounds cool. I like that name, the Dream Web.
Something like that. But
Or you
that's
could
alluding
dude,
to Cyberpunk.
Dream Collector.
This one's good. I've never heard this one before. Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's good. That might get you somewhere.
And with the fantasy one, I would have to know more about the story to give it a name.
Okay, that's good.
I couldn't even guess.
But
Those are my two favorite genres.
I'd play the fuck out of both your games. Now I'm thinking my
Okay,
dream game.
what you got?
Here we go. So the setting, post-apocalyptic, right? The main character, badass female, right? Gameplay.
2018. You need feminism. Yep.
Gameplay.
On track. You're on track with Game of the Year.
Gameplay. Kind of like a RPG / beat 'em up game, right? Style
Okay.
will be kind of like that. What makes someone human? Kind of the things that lead to human emotion,
I already got a title for his game.
and then the name of the game, right, is Nier Automata.
Nier. I knew it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like,
That sounds like a must play to me. I got to tell you, you should pitch that.
probably
I
too.
have a video game studio that
Dude.
you could pitch it to, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yes, I've heard of
it's
this. They're called
Go Fuck
Platinum.
Yourself Studios.
yeah, and the great thing is if you were to invent this studio named Platinum, they could be owned by SquareSoft, by Square
shit,
Enix.
That'd be a good
And
idea. And then they can make
Yeah,
fantastic
'cause-
music for the game, right? And the game's
Exactly.
music will be absolutely some of the best video game music ever heard. But it will go to the
It would
Video
actually
Game
win an award
Awards
for it.
and lose
Yeah.
to a Zelda game that was garbage. See, I'm thinking way ahead of you, Shawn. So maybe, I don't know.
I like where you're going with that.
Okay. To make a real dream game, although I think Nier is still one of my favorite games I've ever played.
You know that's Mario Sunshine 2, right?
I would love Mario Sunshine 2, but I'm trying to think of like I'm trying to
You
think.
also made the game sound like a Horizon Zero Dawn style too.
Yeah, everything except the story kind of follows the same line of
Yeah.
Horizon Zero Dawn, and the gameplay too. Okay, legitimate dream game, new IP. Let me think. So setting, I think I would like. I've always thought this would be cool, but it sounds super cringy and dumb. But I just think that for my game, this wouldn't ultimately serve the community as a better, but just something that I would play for like ever. Is I'd love it like where it was like an isekai game, Shawn, kind of like ReZero, or where you're like the main character swept to another world, but this other world
That's
is
a good storyline.
it's this other world is like the Ready Player One for anime, kind of. And then, so the main character you completely design yourself, and they have no back, so they don't have any backstory whatsoever. You kind of forge your own path, and you're swept into a world where it's the creation of like a small child's, or not a small child, but a person's mind. And then in this recreation of the person's mind, you adventure, and basically kind of along the lines of like Kingdom Hearts, where there's a bunch of different worlds and you hop between worlds, but all these worlds are set in people's minds. And then as the people, so they'll have like cool moments where you'll be in the person's mind doing whatever, trying to help that person. But on top of that, you'll get like shots from the person's view on the outside world, and experiences that they go through would negatively affect their mind and the world that you're going through. And so if something happens to them, like something tragic, you will see that reflected in the world that you're currently in their mind. And then
So like Inception.
That's like a blend of 3 or 4 different stories.
And I
I've
think-
either watched or read.
I think it'd also be pretty cool if in this, all these minds were to run at the same time, and you can freely hop between them all, but they all have possible paths that they could branch to add to like replay value. And the game would be like an adventure game, a puzzle adventure game, kind of along the lines of Zelda, where you move between worlds and you have an ultimate goal there, but there are side quests at the same time.
So is your quest to heal the
Your-
mind
yeah,
that
your-
you just
Yeah, your quest is to help that person. They have some sort of mental illness in one way or another, and it is affecting their world, but the world is also filled with things that they love, kind of, too. and you'll be hopping between those worlds, and then again, like in an adventure action kind of style, and there'll be enemies that you fight, maybe RPG elements so you can get better gear, and the gear is all styled based on the mind that you come from. So say it's one person's mind, this is kind of branched out of anime. It doesn't have to stay in the anime world. It could be anything. So again, like Ready Player One pop culture style. So if you went, you can get like the Ghostbusters weapon backpack thing, and that could be used in other worlds to solve puzzles. And then they're all like different pop culture references. or to kill a certain enemy in another world. Or you can actually, there's like a Mechagodzilla vehicle that you can take between the worlds and use that to help you.
That's awesome.
Like destroy
So
things
it's like
or whatever.
part the cell. It's part like any one of the Lego games. It's part a story I read about changelings.
And
That shares a lot in common with the changeling myth about how children get taken and a fairy baby put in their place, and the children are taken to Arcadia, the land of the fairies, and they grow up as a fairy, and then the fairy child grows up as a human until eventually they come back to pick up the fairy kid and bring them back into Arcadia. And then you've got the cell where Jennifer Lopez jumps into people's minds, criminals, to find out where they've hidden victims or whatever, and in the process heal them before they go to prison or whatever. And then you've got and then the Lego thing. Every level you pick up something new that you can take back to other levels to do more.
And it would be cool if they like implement different elements that people actually are affected by with mental illnesses. So say like there's an Alzheimer's patient area, and the world is just like practically crumbling down. Basically, like there's huge chunks of it missing because of the way that Alzheimer's affects the brain. And you could have one that could be depression, and different like.
I did play a game like this.
What's it called?
It's on my PlayStation. I don't remember. You actually go into the mind of an Alzheimer's patient, trying to stop the degradation of memory loss. And you're not jumping through worlds; you're jumping through different memory periods, and you're finding key items.
I think I know
and
what you're
solving
talking
puzzles.
about. I think
That
I know what
sounds
you're
familiar.
talking about.
I have the game, and I got all the way to the puzzles are fucking hard, and I got to the end of the goddamn game, and then it glitched, it bugged, and it ruined the save file, and I was so pissed off that I haven't gone back to it. I'll tell you what it is later, but I'm not fucking around with it right now. Oh god damn it! I think I may. Well, my PlayStation. Never mind. I can tell you now because the PlayStation went into sleep mode, so I lost my place in the show. So good time.
So,
but please continue. I'll tell you when I find it.
Yeah, so you'll be jumping between those planets, and then the planets would basically think of like a Zelda dungeon, but gigantic. And like an open world Zelda dungeon that had multiple puzzles to fix that big dungeon, and there was like 6 of them that you hop between freely, and you can take all of your inventory between all the places. And for style, I'm kind of torn on whether, because it's going to have a lot of different like lovable like franchises and shit like that, I'm kind of torn if I want it to be cartoony or realistic, because it depends on, maybe each world can have its own style. So if you hop into like the world of a Disney lover or something like that, you'd be in a Disney style. Your character would be recreated in that form. Or you can go into like a World of Warcraft lover's world mind, and then you'll be recreated in that style. And every world has its own style set to it. You can go into a comic book lover's mind, and then that world will have its own style as well. And the styles will shift. And then again, you level up. It's got like an action RPG style to it. The main character is customizable entirely. And there'll be a bunch of different like armors and weapons you can equip that are all references to different lovable franchises and stuff like that. And again, the styles would vary. So I think I have everything. Setting would be hopping between minds. Main character is customizable. Gameplay, action RPG. Style would be dependent on the mind that you're in. And then name. We need a name. I want something like cool. That sounds cool. Like
Amnesia.
I was thinking something like I can't think, like Lost. I'm thinking.
I'm trying to help you.
Yeah, I don't know if I could think of one. like Land Forgotten or something like that. I don't know. Something that sounds cool. Not like I don't know, or maybe like something that maybe there's like one big, like the biggest dungeon or the biggest issue or something, or even like I don't know, but I don't want it something to be simple.
I would look up a psychology. Ether, by the way, Ether 1 is what it's called.
Oh, yes. I remember playing that game. I know what you're talking about.
You should
now.
look up psychology terms for healing fractured minds and shit like that.
There you go.
We'll just call
That
it
would work.
psychosis.
Yeah.
Psychosis.
Like,
Well, yeah, but not
psychosis.
everything you'd be healing would be a psychosis. Like Alzheimer's and dementia aren't psychoses.
Psychosis.
Psychosis is.
Psychology terms. There we go. Glossary of psychological
Or like
terms.
mental frontier.
Well, that was pretty cool.
Psychosis, the mental frontier.
Diagnosis.
Oh, we could just call it AIDS.
That sounds good. But no, I think butt AIDS actually captures that je ne sais quoi.
Yes, I did. I believe. Oh, assimilation sounds pretty cool because you're kind of like making in order to like solve the problem, you have to like assimilate in with their mind. Or, I don't know. Assimilation
Altered
sounds cool.
states.
Altered states sounds cool. I think that's cool. I like altered state actually too. Ooh, axon. AXON. The extended fiber of a neuron through the nerve impulses travel from the soma to the terminal buttons. Axon sounds cool.
Axon.
Axon. I like that name. We'll do Axon. That's the name of my game. So, I think that's pretty cool.
I'd play it.
So, I think that's where we'll probably call it for this episode. This episode wasn't going to be anything super special. We're just going to add some extra time. So, we're going to... Actually, real quick, let's do...
Didn't we have a mailbag? Was that the mailbag question?
That was the mailbag, yeah. It was a pretty long one.
Oh, that was
okay.
All right, so we'll call that here.
Right.
For
Hey,
you
I had a
guys...
quick question,
Okay,
actually.
go
When were you planning on like going back to like after hours?
I don't know, actually, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Eventually, I
Okay.
want to.
I was just curious. Like, I realized that you haven't done one like quite a while.
been a
I mean,
long
I actually,
time.
yeah.
I'm down to do one, but we need to find a day where we can all participate
Chill.
at night. So
Gotcha.
we'll figure it
At night.
out. So for all you guys tuning in, real quick, either hit us up in the Discord or something like that, or in the comments below. Let us know what game of the 3 that we made, which ones you would play, which ones you wouldn't touch, and which ones you think you'd wait for a sale on. So let us know out of the 3 that we explained and provided information for, what games that you guys would say is a must play, wait for a sale, or something you never touch. So, well, it seems like that was episode 47 of the Thought Space Patrol podcast. Would you look at that?
Hugs and kisses and all your pink parts.
Oh, damn, Shawn. Leading the fucking pack, man.
I'll see y'all again in 6 months.
Yeah, damn straight. All right, that's your outro? Okay, I need to find a useless fact. Okay, before we go, I will leave you all with a thought. You will eat about 35,000 cookies in a lifetime.